Chapter 232. Fong Lao picked up a piece of red braised pork with his chopsticks. The thick sauce wrapped around the pork, and the juices splashed out when he took a bite. The sweet and fresh taste permeated every bit of the meat. He squinted his eyes in satisfaction and enjoyed it for a moment before he said slowly, "You're right. In terms of age, I'm the oldest, so you should call me master. Second brother, third brother, you should call me eldest brother. The netizens? Why did Elder Fong, the president of the Chinese Medicine Association, fall for her?" Xianxia, who suddenly had 3 masters, was speechless. The girl didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Grandpa Fong, Grandpa Yun, Grandpa Jing, although I'm very interested in medical skills, I'm afraid I don't have time to learn recently. Since she had promised to record 2 under one roof, she had to do what she said. Otherwise, it would make things difficult for Shi Sui and Li Jinyu." Elder Jing looked around and said, "The scenery here is beautiful and the air is pleasant. I can stay here and teach my beloved disciple some medical skills." Elder Yun, "Yes, it's quiet here and suitable for meditation." Elder Fong, "Little disciple, you won't dislike me, right? Sai, we're old men. It's inevitable that people will dislike us." Xianxia hurriedly said, "That's not what I meant. Grandpa, you can stay as long as you want. I'm just afraid that I won't be good enough and will let you down." Elder Fong had been waiting for her to say that. He winked at his entourage, and someone immediately brought over a brocade box and respectfully placed it in front of Xianxia. Xianxia opened the box to see a piece of high-quality ginseng inside. At a glance, it was at least a few decades old wild ginseng. "Grandpa Fong, I can't." Xianxia wanted to decline politely, but she heard Elder Fong say calmly, "It's a gift for you. You can eat it as a snack. It's not something expensive." The netizens? Eat ginseng as a snack? I'm kneeling to the big boss. Those who don't know better would think he gave her a carrot. I've seen a ginseng of similar size sold for 6 figures. Elder Yin also had someone bring over a gift, a box of Tianshan snow lotus. Before Xianxia could open her mouth, he calmly said, "Don't be so courteous with your master. Drink the flower tea to dispel coldness, remove moisture, and beautify your complexion." The netizens were speechless. Snow lotus flower tea. Forget it, I'll turn my mic off. Only Elder Jing's eyes widened like copper bells. These 2 scheming old men. You actually prepared a greeting gift behind my back. He had never fawned over anyone in his entire life, and he didn't know the ways of the world. How could he have thought of bringing a greeting gift for his obedient disciple? Seeing the little girl's flattered look in front of the ginseng and snow lotus, Elder Jing's heart ached. What kind of good thing was this? What was there to be at a loss about accepting such a small thing? The old man snorted and took out a card from the pocket of his tang suit. "Here, swipe whatever you want to eat at our restaurant." The card he pulled out was the Ji Shi Tang Pharmacy's nationwide internal card. Netizens commented, "At this moment, old Jing looks like the overbearing grandfather of the overbearing CEO in novels." Elder Fong. Elder Yin. "Oh no, I've been outdone." Elder Jing put his hands in the pockets of his tang suit. He first glared fiercely at Elder Fong and Elder Yin, then looked at Xianxia and smiled childishly. Chapter 233. Xianxia did not want to dampen their spirits, so she had no choice but to accept the gifts from her grandfathers. Oh no, her masters. She thought to herself that she would give them a suitable gift in the future. Seeing that the young lady had accepted the gifts, the 3 masters heaved a sigh of relief. This meant that the young lady had acknowledged them. The atmosphere at the dining table became more harmonious. Suddenly, there was a strange sound coming from the depths of the garden. Xianxia was about to check it out when she acutely noticed that a few agile shadows had emerged from the dark. The nature of Xiang Li's work was special, and Elder Fong and the others were influential masters in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. Simply put, the only thing the manor lacked today was the bodyguards of these big shots. Soon, more than 10 boys with dusty faces were carried over, as if they were little chicks. "Reporting. These people are sneaking around and trying to barge in," said a stern and cold voice. Rong Huai was the first to retort. "Who's sneaking around? Don't slander us. Then why didn't you leave the front door open? I have a legitimate reason to suspect you. Tell me, what's your motive? Xianxia got up in time. I know them. Rong Huai and the rest were then released. What's going on? Are you interrogating us like we're criminals? Rong Huai muttered softly. When he saw Xianxi's face, he suddenly felt guilty and whispered, Sister, we don't have any ill intentions. We just wanted to come and see you before we leave. After a few hours of construction work, Mingxi Boys High School was almost done. Most of the children had been taken home by their parents. However, there are also children like Rong Huai who did not want to go home, but had nowhere to go. Probably because of the fledgling complex, they all had similar subtle feelings for Xianxia. It was as if they could draw a sense of security from her. Xianxia crossed her arms. It's already so late. Are you going to stay out all night? Wait here obediently. I'll arrange for a car to send you home. You don't have to arrange it. It's not like we don't know how to take a taxi. Rong Huai retorted. The little wolf cub was quite fierce and intimidating at first glance. In the next second, rumble. Rong Huai's stomach growled. The atmosphere became extremely awkward. Xianxia turned her face away. She tried to hold it in for a few seconds, but in the end, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. As soon as she laughed, even Rong Huai's underlings betrayed him and laughed mercilessly. Rong Huai's ears turned red as he gritted his teeth. What's so funny? It's not funny at all. Little did she know that the netizens in the live stream were laughing like crazy. Ha ha, incompetent rage. Little brother must be shy. He wants to see sister E bully him. Seconded. Although I like E, who is meek and gentle in front of her brother. I like E even more when she's cool and cool in front of her brother. Xianxia finally managed to control her expression. Ahem, you didn't have dinner? A child in the crowd said shyly, This place is too remote. There's no place to eat nearby. When Xianxia heard this, she said helplessly, Then we'll leave after we finish eating. Go to the tool room and get a stool for each of us to sit here. Rong Huai recalled how tired she looked when she was cooking in the afternoon and immediately panicked. Who wants to eat your cooking? I don't want to eat it all. Someone behind him said, But you ate 8 buns made by sister for lunch, and even poured out the last few drops of seaweed and egg drop soup. Rong Huai yelled, Shut up. Chapter 234. He turned around and met Xianxi's smiling eyes. Rong Huai tugged at his pants and said in a low voice, It's not that I ate too much. It's just that the buns you made are too small. It's so small that it's gone in 2 bites. What's wrong with eating 8? Xianxi's eyes were clear, as if they were filled with clear moonlight. She smiled and said, It's okay to eat a little more. You'll only grow taller if you eat more. Hearing her words, Rong Huai quietly straightened his back. With so many people around, there definitely wouldn't be enough for dinner, and it would take more time to cook something else. Xianxia thought about it and asked, Can we have barbecue? I'll go prepare the ingredients, and you guys can barbecue yourselves. The group of children obviously had no objections. After a while, Xianxia came over with a few plates of meat. Rong Huai and the rest also brought out the barbecue rack and small stools from the tool room. They lit up the smokeless charcoal and brushed oil on the barbecue pan, after which they could start barbecuing. The pork belly, mutton, and beef were cut into thin slices and cooked in a short while. They were then brushed with Xianxi's barbecue sauce. If they wanted to eat spicy food, they could even roll it in chili powder and stuff it into their mouths. This taste was awesome. Looking at these young and lively youths gobbling down the meat, the carefree Xianxia felt a lump in her throat. She leaned on her husband's shoulder and whispered, This is great. Children should eat well. Shengguang held her hand gently without a word. Shi Sui and Xiangli sat next to each other. Sister E is so nice, Shi Sui said. Xiangli snorted and said, My tutu is nice to begin with. Touch 1. It had to be said that Shi Sui had a firm grasp of the Xiang family's personalities. For example, Xiangli seemed to be intelligent and flawless, but in fact, he was especially fond of alcohol. However, due to the nature of his job, he couldn't drink often. Hence, although Xiangli was very displeased with Shi Sui, she toasted with him. Shi Sui lowered her eyes and drank the wine. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and there was a trace of a triumphant smile in her eyes. She raised her hand and turned off the microphone. She deliberately lowered her voice and said in a lazy and magnetic voice, "Second brother-in-law, since you've drunk the wine, when do you think it's appropriate for me to deliver the betrothal gift?" Xianxia, you want to marry my tutu? Xianxia also turned off the microphone and sneered, "Do you think I'm dead?" Shui looked into his eyes. His long and narrow peach blossom eyes curved outwards. He always looked very affectionate when he looked at others. He was very good at acting innocent and pure. "Then, it's not impossible for Tutu to marry me." Xianxia, F*CKU, has some shame. He had never seen such a shameless person. In fact, Shui knew that she couldn't hide it from Xianxia, so she decided to come clean. Xianxia had a chance to see his feelings for Xianxia when they met. As for Xiangfeng, with Xiangfeng's IQ, he would probably only be able to see it on the day of the baby shower. A slender figure appeared next to him. It was Xianxia, who had returned from preparing the ingredients. Shui chuckled. "Thank you for your hard work. It's nothing. I just cut some meat." They washed the vegetables themselves. Xianxia suddenly stood up and patted Shui on the shoulder. "Change seats with me. Bastard, don't even think about coveting my sister." Shui kindly changed seats with him. Soon, Xianxia began to tease his sister. "The kid you were talking to just now was quite handsome." Xianxia, "Fortunately, brother, you're the most handsome." Xianxia raised the corners of his mouth. Then, he lowered them and asked a question. "Then, who's more handsome, me or Shui?" Xianxia. Chapter 235. She was obviously hesitating. When her cherry lips moved slightly, and she was about to speak, Xianxia sneered. "Is this something that you need to hesitate about? Shouldn't she immediately blurt out that her brother is the most handsome person in the world?" I just think that you two are both handsome in your own ways." Xianxia, who had a strong desire to survive, tried to salvage the situation. "But I think you're the most handsome." Shui, who had changed seats, happened to form a corner with Xianxi's seat. Hence, he could see all of her movements and expressions without any scruples. Hearing her words, he raised his eyebrows. Xianxia turned her face and stole a glance at Shui, only to accidentally make eye contact with him. That was awkward. She then corrected herself. "Brother Shui, you're very handsome too, especially handsome." "Huh?" Xianxia laughed coldly. The live stream viewers burst into laughter because of the conversation between the three of them. "Haha, Sister E is so cute when she's caught in a dilemma. My PhD brother actually has such a childish side? I don't believe it." Indeed, men are like children who never grow up. Xianxia has had a hard time taking care of Xianxia today. Xianxia was conflicted for a while before asking weakly, "Brother, do you think Brother Shui is handsome?" Xianxia said, "He's ugly." Shui's expression remained unchanged. However, Xianxia said seriously, "Brother, you're stepping on him. It's wrong to praise him and step on him." Voila! Xianxia's heart cracked. She's protecting that dog of a man, just like that? Also, you're obviously lying through your teeth. Brother Shui is indeed very handsome. Wallalala, Xianxia's heart was completely shattered. Xianxia was furious. He picked up the glass of wine and downed it in one gulp. Xianxia was a little nervous. "Brother, are you angry?" A certain actor's entire body was filled with the fragrance of green tea. "Sister E, it's all my fault. I made Xianxia unhappy. Don't worry about it. Just let him do whatever he wants. I don't mind at all." Xianxia said subconsciously. "How can I blame you?" Xianxia became even angrier. Feng Lao and the others were all young. After the meal, they chatted for a while before Xianxia took them to the guest room to rest. The group of youths were still barbecuing, but Xianxia was talking to Ronghuai. No one knew what they were talking about, but Ronghuai suddenly looked at Shui and stared at her for a few seconds before quickly looking away. Rong, your face is made for the big screen. You should really consider entering the entertainment industry," Xianxia said with a smile. Perhaps it was fate, but she found Ronghuai particularly pleasing to the eye. She could not help but give him a few pointers. "I heard that your cultural results are not particularly good. If you start preparing for the arts exam now, you can make it in time." Rong Hui pursed his lips and said sullenly, "Thank you. I'll consider it seriously." He was a little hooligan, but he could tell right from wrong. He could sense Xianxia's kindness. "Let's add each other on WeChat. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask Andy." After the two of them added each other as friends, Rong Hui suddenly asked softly, "Auntie Yin, can I become as capable as him?" He refused to say Shui's name awkwardly, but his eyes landed on Shui. Xianxia touched the wolf cub's head and said, "Anything is possible, but are you interested in acting? I can recommend a few schools to you then." Rong Hui did not answer, but he already had an answer in his heart. He just wanted to be closer to someone, just a little closer, until standing at a position where he could stand shoulder to shoulder with her. Chapter 236. It was getting late at night. Xianxia came out of the villa, only to find that the courtyard was still too dark with only a few street lamps and the lights from the production crew. She went to the tool room and dug out a few handmade lanterns that she and her brothers used to make. Rong Hui and the others came over. "Wow, there are actually lanterns with candles now. Sister, do you want to hang this? Do you want a ladder?" Xianxia said, "No, you could just pass it to me." "Huh, but can you reach it?" Before he finished speaking, Xianxia climbed up a tree skillfully, her movements as fast as those in Wuxia movies. "The teenagers? The netizens? Are you there? Xianxia, do you know that your fairy persona has been ruined?" "Damn, I thought Sameo Gu and Samao Gu were fast enough, but I didn't expect Sister E to be the fastest." I suddenly remembered that Xianxia got injured because he went rock climbing with Xiang. The Xiang family actually has such an ancestral skill. If you don't share it, you're not Chinese. The group of boys opened their mouths, so wide that eggs could almost be stuffed in. Xianxia said calmly, "Give me the lantern." Rong Hui, who was the tallest, handed her a lantern in a daze. She hung it up, lit it, and then Xianxia climbed to the next tree. After hanging the lantern, the courtyard not only became brighter, but it also added a touch of warmth. The warm light of the lantern spread out, and a few moths gathered and bumped into it without hesitation. It was rare for Xianxia to indulge himself that night. He drank too much and leaned back on the recliner in a drunken stupor. The top two buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing some of his fair skin and thin collarbones. The red mole at the end of his eye looked even more alluring. Xianxia drank a lot with him too. Although her head was dizzy, she was somehow sober. Xianxia picked up a ukulele. She hadn't touched a musical instrument in a long time, and her hands were a little rusty. She stumbled as she played the ukulele. "I have to practice more so that I can sing it for our baby in the future," she said in an expectant tone. Sheng Guang clapped for her with a smile in his eyes. From beginning to end, she was the only one in his eyes. The lights were warm and the wind was gentle. It was truly a beautiful night. It made one's heart soften. After Xianxia finished playing a song, she wanted to put the ukulele back, but Xianxia took it. She plucked the strings a few times and adjusted the tuning slightly. Rong Hui and the others' eyes lit up. The group of little brats didn't even bother to eat the meat as they eagerly surrounded the pavilion. Li Jinyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Hey, you guys are blocking Sister Yi's camera." The children were laughing and joking, pushing each other and chasing each other away. They quickly made way. In the live stream, is Sister E going to sing? Boo-hoo, these kids are like two different people from the day. They're laughing. They must really like Sister E. They're afraid of blocking the camera, so they're tiptoeing to get a closer look. It's so annoying. I want to cry again, cack. A simple and pleasant prelude sounded. The ukulele's unique, clear tone might not be that impactful at first, but it was inexplicably harmonious with the warm night. The red sun rises, its bright light the river flows out, a vast ocean. The girl began to sing lazily, but her voice instantly captured everyone's ears. She lowered her eyebrows, her small figure immersed in a half-lit corner, but she was a dazzling presence in the crowd. The young have their own youthful arrogance. My body is like the mountains and rivers. My spine I dare to measure the sun and moon. Xianxia looked up at the teenagers outside the pavilion and smiled gently. She hummed gently as if she was coaxing a child, but it had an incomparably shocking power. My heart is like the blazing sun, shining brightly no matter how difficult it is to stop me today. I am the only young man. The last chord fell. The surroundings were so quiet that one could almost hear the rustling of the wind and the falling petals. Chapter 237. Even the comment section of the live stream had decreased significantly. There was a moment of silence. The comment section of the live stream exploded. I'm crying out loud. I don't know why, but I just feel like crying. I suddenly realized that the female celebrity Xiang. No, her name is Xianxia. I'm praising Sister E so much. She's beautiful, sweet, and heartwarming. No wonder Rong Huai and the other kids would come to see her. She's so healing. In the courtyard, Rong Huai stared blankly at the girl not far away, his heart pounding rapidly. This was the first time he had truly felt his own existence. Behind him, the boys who were easily moved to tears began to cry, and those who didn't had their eyes reddened. She didn't sing such a hot-blooded song at all, but it was so gentle that it had the power to move people's hearts. It turned out that they weren't children abandoned by the world. It turned out that they could also have a little bit of light, a little bit of hope, and a little bit of dreams. They were still youths with limitless possibilities. Their hearts were like blazing suns. Even Li Jinyu couldn't help but wipe away his tears. In the beginning, he still had some doubts about Shi Sui's invitation to Xianxia to appear on Two Under One Roof. However, he now understood that it wasn't Two Under One Roof that made Xianxia successful. It was Xianxia who made Two Under One Roof happen. The live stream ended for the day. Rong Huai and the others also got into the car and left safely. Before they left, they cleaned up the yard and even took away the trash. It was as if they didn't want there to be any filth in Xiangyi's house. Everyone returned to their rooms. Xiangli had really had too much to drink, so much so that he was walking unsteadily. Although Shi Sui bickered with him, he still treated him as a friend. Hence, he helped him back to his room. When Shi Sui came out of the bathroom after taking a shower, his gaze darted to the bed. Something's wrong. He frowned and strode forward, lifting the blanket roughly. However, after seeing who it was, he paused in his actions. It was Xianxia. The girl was curled up into a ball and sleeping obediently. Shi Sui was speechless. He carelessly wiped his hair a few times and said with some helplessness and amusement, "That's true. Even the big drunkard is drunk. How could the little drunkard not be drunk? She was probably drunk when she was singing. No wonder she smiled so sweetly to everyone, especially that little brat named Rong Rong." Shi Sui's gaze fell on the girl's delicate face. She was hugging a pillow and breathing evenly. Her hair was scattered on her cheeks. Shi Sui raised her hand and brushed it away for her. "Aren't you too trusting of me?" Shi Sui chuckled. "You even dared to enter my room and climb into my bed." He wasn't afraid that he wouldn't be human anymore. "Ew." Shi Sui sighed and stared deeply at Xianxia for a few seconds. The emotions in her eyes were thick, and the light in her eyes was obscure. He patted the girl's shoulder twice. "Wake up. Go back to your room and sleep." The little girl who was sleeping soundly snorted and turned over angrily. As she moved, her blouse rolled up, revealing the milky white and delicate skin at the back of her waist. It was very dazzling. Shi Sui's Adam's apple moved. He closed his eyes, covered the girl with the blanket, and prepared to find a guest room to make do for the night. Just as he walked to the door, the crisp sound of the door being locked suddenly rang out, accompanied by the sneer of a drunk genius professor. "I'll lock the door for you. Let's see how you dare to seduce my sister." Shi Sui was speechless. Then there was the sound of Xiang Li's messy footsteps and the sound of him bumping into something and falling on the carpet. He could vaguely hear his ravings. "I have to protect my sister." Shi Sui was speechless. Chapter 238. This makes people very fascinated. The man pressed his eyebrows and suddenly chuckled. "Fine. Sleep if you want. Lock if you want. Let nature take its course. Everything is the best arrangement." After giving himself a few words of encouragement, Shi Sui turned back and lingered by the bed for a few seconds. Some thoughts of not wanting to be a human flashed through his mind. In the end, Shui still turned off the lights, picked up the script on the bedside table, and sat down on the single-seater sofa by the floor-to-ceiling window. He turned on a small nightlight and flipped through the script with his well-defined fingers. Shui was still hesitating about this movie. The script was extremely well written. The most holy and flawless church was occupied by a flower of evil. The darkest and most humid mental hospital had the only bright color in the entire movie. The plotline followed the criminal reasoning route. It was intertwined, and every supporting character had a high IQ. The emotional line was a scene between a high IQ priest criminal and a psychiatrist. It started with a playful game of cat and mouse and ended with a regretful tragedy. It was full of drama. In all fairness, Shui wanted to take on this script. However, he couldn't act in an emotional scene. It wasn't a problem of acting. It was a psychological problem. He resisted all close contact with women, and it had become a psychological barrier. Director Yin had tried several methods before, but Shui vomited after a single pat. It didn't work at all, so he could only give up in the end. Other scripts were fine, but in this script, if the character of the doctor was deleted, or if the doctor's part was deleted, the whole film would lose some kind of balance, and it would not meet the artistic expression that the director wanted. Therefore, he either had to overcome the psychological barrier of acting in the opposite role, or give up this good script. Shui was having a headache. The little girl on the bed probably felt hot and kicked the quilt away. She's quite dishonest. Shui shook his head, put down the script, and got up to cover her with the quilt. The little girl drunkenly called out, Xianxia. Everything. She looked around for the cat in a daze. She didn't touch Xianxia, but she touched Shui's hand. She rubbed her soft and slender fingers tentatively a few times. Then, as if she sensed that something was wrong, she opened her eyes. The world spun before her eyes. She tried hard to focus and finally recognized the man in front of her. "Why are you here?" Shui raised her eyebrows and indulged her behavior. "Who am I?" "My child." "What?" "Zai." Xianxia looked at him innocently. "Why are you here?" "This is where Xianxia sleeps." To emphasize, she patted the pillow on the other side. Shui licked her lips. "Then where do you think I should sleep?" It was too difficult for a drunk person to make a logical analysis. Xianxia felt her head hurt even more. She mumbled, "You slept in a cat bed." Shui was so angry that she laughed. "Is there such a big cat nest?" The little girl said in an imposing manner, "I'll ask my third brother to make one for you." Shui, "Okay, I'll wait. You go back to sleep." He leaned over to pick up the quilt, but the girl was lying on the edge of the bed. Her cheeks were half pressed against the black sheets, which made her skin look even fairer. The drunk girl spoke slowly and more softly than usual. You look good?" Shui simply sat cross-legged on the ground and looked at her calmly. "Then, between me and your brother, who looks better?" Xianxia frowned, looking like she was about to be forced to do business again. Chapter 239. She shrank back and dodged his gaze. "I am sleepy." Shui grabbed the pillow in her arms. The little girl was drunk and weak and couldn't move at all. The two were in a stalemate. After more than 10 seconds, the girl sighed helplessly. "Okay, then I'll tell you alone, okay? Then you're not allowed to tell anyone else." "Okay." The man looked at Xianxia affectionately and gently. Xianxia whispered, "You and brother are both good-looking, but I think you're the most good-looking because I like you, whoosh." The ambiguous atmosphere fermented uncontrollably in the air, and the room seemed to have heated up, adding a sense of irritation. Shui raised his hand and rubbed the back of the girl's neck. He coaxed, "Say it again." Xianxia was drowsy. She murmured in a soft voice, "I'm really sleepy. You said you like me." After a pause, the man smiled. "You even said you want me to be your boyfriend." Xianxia protested softly, "I didn't. I said, I like your face." Her mouth was sealed by the man's palm, and her soft lips were pressed against his warm palm. The girl blinked her long eyelashes. "I'll think about it and give you an answer." Shui looked like he was in a difficult position. "TSK, you don't know how popular brother is." There seemed to be something wrong. However, Xianxia was too sleepy. Her eyelids drooped, and she mumbled a few words before falling asleep. Sui's deep eyes were mixed with dark emotions. His clear Adam's apple bobbed visibly. His gaze lingered on the girl's lips for a few seconds. He rubbed his fingers against them and smiled. What should I do? Brother really doesn't want to be a good person. The sky was slightly bright, and the morning stars were sparse. Xianxia gradually regained consciousness, but she felt a faint headache. She sat up and habitually rubbed Xianxia beside her pillow. It wasn't the usual fluffy and warm feeling. Instead, Xianxia's eyes widened, and she was no longer sleepy. How could it be Shui? With a guilty conscience, she tried to quietly withdraw her hand, but her wrist was firmly grasped. Then, Shui slowly opened her eyes and squinted at her lazily. Don't panic, it's just a small matter. Oh, like hell. However, Xianxia had been through so many worlds. She was mentally strong. She said calmly, "Good morning." She thought that as long as she was calm enough, Shui would be the one panicking. Unexpectedly, the man's voice was tired and hoarse, soft and light, like a feather that tickled her heart. "Good morning. Sister E, why are you in my room? Are you still on my bed?" Xianxia had an inexplicable feeling that she was a scumbag who didn't take responsibility after defiling the other party. Ahem, if I say that I'm here to tuck you in, would you believe me? Shui raised her eyebrows. Xianxia felt guilty and uneasy. After a while, Shui let go of her wrist, as if believing her. I see. I'm really a little genius with quick reflexes. Xianxia smiled. Then have a good rest. I won't disturb you. She jumped off the bed and didn't even bother to put on her slippers. Her fair feet stepped on the wooden floor as she hurried out. Shui rested her chin on her elbow and looked at her with a half-smile. Xianxia turned the doorknob. She didn't turn it. She froze, but the man's slightly flustered voice sounded behind her. It's just a blanket. Is there a need to lock the door? Sister EU, what are you going to do to me? Chapter 240. Xianxia was completely dumbfounded. At the thought of her uncle Xiangfeng singing in a tree when he was drunk, a look of horror appeared in her eyes. Did she also get drunk and go crazy? For example, breaking into Sui's room and taking advantage of him sleeping. What did she do last night? If you like Big Brother, you can just tell me. Shui sat up straight and slowly put on his glasses. You don't have to be so scheming. Xianxia, she turned her head and found that Shui's pajamas were in a mess, and he looked aggrieved and helpless. Xianxia hesitated for a few seconds, then silently stepped forward and covered Shui with a blanket. Shui raised his eyebrows. Do you want to go take a shower? Xianxia recalled the romance novel she had read with Xianxia when she was bored. Although you may not be clean anymore, please don't cry, okay? I will be responsible for you. Let me think about it. The development of this matter was beyond Shui's expectations. He lowered his eyelashes to hide the smile in his eyes and replied, Then I'll go take a shower. In the living room. When Xianxia woke up, he was in a daze. He fumbled around and found his glasses, only to realize that he was in his room. He seemed to have fallen last night, and the bodyguards had sent him back. Thinking of his perfect lock, the corners of Xianxia's mouth curved up. As expected of me. The next second, the phone next to his pillow vibrated. He picked it up and saw that it was a message from his sister. Tutu, brother. Tutu, brother, I did something wrong. What should I do /cry? Xianxia frowned and typed with one hand. Don't cry, speak slowly. Tutu, I drank too much last night and walked into the wrong room. /cry. Seeing this, Xianxia suddenly had an ominous feeling. Where are you? Buzz Tutu. I'm in brother Shui's room. Xianxia. He threw off the quilt and rushed to Shui's room. The door was still locked, but he had no time to look for the key. He called for his bodyguards and used brute force to break in. Xianxia was startled by the noise, and her phone almost fell to the ground. Xianxia was furious. He grabbed his sister's wrist and walked out. Just then, the bathroom door opened. Shui was only wearing a pair of black sweatpants. His body was well-proportioned, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His abdominal muscles were well-defined, and his V-line line snaked into the black pants as he dried his hair the smooth muscles of his forearms became more and more obvious. The man blinked his peach blossom eyes and dragged his voice. "Sister E, I'm done. Have you thought about it?" Xianxia roared. "Put on your clothes. What kind of scandal is this?" Only then did Shui slowly pick up the thin sweater on the shelf and put it on. He stared at Xianxia, looking innocent and pitiful. "Xianxia, Brother Tingrui, don't be so fierce. You'll scare him." Xianxia was so angry that he almost vomited blood. "You're still protecting this B** starred. Shui leaned against the doorframe. Part of his sweater had slipped off, revealing his collarbones and protruding Adam's apple. He blinked innocently. "Huh? Didn't Sister E lock the door? TSK, I wonder who did it." Xianxia, of course, he couldn't admit that he did it. Otherwise, he would turn from a genius brother to a fool brother in front of his sister. Xianxia tugged at her brother's sleeve and whispered, "Brother, I don't know who locked the door, but I think I took advantage of him." Xianxia looked pitiful. "How can I take responsibility for it to show my sincerity?" Xianxia, "You even tricked my tutu. King Shui, are you still human?" Chapter 241. Xianxia was pushed out of the room by her brother. Then the door was slammed shut. Before the door was closed, Xianxia saw her brother rolling up his sleeves. Are they going to fight? She wanted to go in, but she heard her brother yelling through the door, "Go back to your room." Then Shui's gentle and calm voice sounded. "Don't worry, I'll have a good chat with your brother." Xianxia scratched her head and chose to believe them. She walked towards her room. Her hungover brain was slower than usual, so she didn't notice that someone was secretly taking photos of her coming out of Shui's room outside the floor-to-ceiling window. In the kitchen, porridge was simmering in the casserole pot, and the fragrance of the rice wafted out through the crack in the door. Xianxia wanted to make up for it, so she made a particularly sumptuous breakfast, which was all Shui's favorite dishes. After spending time with him for the past few days, Xianxia had already figured out his preferences. His palate was light, carnivorous, and he especially liked to eat fish and shrimp, which was a bit similar to Xianxia. She made steamed dumplings, shrimp dumplings, egg pancakes, and other Chinese pastries, as well as bacon, sausages, fried eggs, potato pancakes, and other Western breakfasts. She even fried a fish for Xianxia. Xianxia was nestled in a hammock on the top floor of the luxurious cat villa, chewing its paws in a fit of pique. It saw Xianxia coming out of Shui's room. "Boo-hoo, this stupid woman has changed her mind. I'm no longer a favorite. I'm not going to talk to her anymore." However, when Xianxia came over with the grilled fish, Xiaonaofu's nose twitched, and it began to drool. "Xiaonaofu, it's time to eat," Xianxia coaxed softly. "No, I can't forgive her just because she coaxed me." Xianxia scratched the back of Xiaonaofu's neck. "Don't be angry with me, okay? I've coaxed you twice." Xiaonaofu counted in its heart. Xianxia murmured, "Everything, little baby, if you don't eat, the grilled fish will get cold." 3 times. Forget it. I'll just reluctantly forgive her." Xiaonaofu flipped over and extended its claws at Xianxia. "Meow." Xianxia raised her eyebrows and took it down from the hammock. She patiently tore the grilled fish into small pieces and fed it bit by bit. Xiaonaofu's belly was round as it rolled around on the ground in satisfaction. Xianxia threw it a few balls to play with and got up to do her morning exercise outside. Behind the small kitchen, there was a villa where the staff of the production team lived. Xiaoyang was the camera assistant of the production crew. He had just graduated not long ago and was at the age where he was impatient. His salary was considered high among his peers. However, he lived in this large manor every day and watched the bright and beautiful stars coming and going. It was inevitable that he would feel a little unbalanced. Why did these people have to have all this without working hard, and he could only get a few $1,000s a month? The aroma of the rice grew stronger and stronger, spreading from afar. Xiaoyang was displeased. That female artist, named Xianxia, is really hypocritical. She only cooks for us once in a while. At other times, we have to order takeout or solve our own problems. Since she's already cooking, what's wrong with cooking more? We're all humans. Why should we treat them differently? As for whether Xianxia would have a hard time cooking for dozens of people, That was not within his consideration. He gritted his teeth and found a paparazzi that he had accidentally added on his friend list. He typed, "There's a video of Shi Ingdi and Xianxia. How much are you willing to pay?" During the morning rush hour, an explosive video instantly attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 242. The blogger who broke the news had a notorious reputation, but the netizens were keen on gossiping and would always curse while watching the drama unfold. Gossip Frontline v. Shocking. At the filming site of a well-known variety show, a certain female celebrity couldn't bear the loneliness and broke into the male guest room in the middle of the night for a tryst. She didn't come out until the morning. The female guest's brother flew into a rage when he found out about it, deeply ashamed of himself for having such a shameless sister. There was a 10-second video attached, in which a slender girl came out of the room with two men behind her. The blogger was very tactful. He didn't mention any names and even blurred out everyone's faces. However, the more he tried to cover it up, the more curious he became. The comment section was extremely lively. "Let's squat in the front row and see the name of this disgusting female guest. Oh my God, those clothes. I think I know who she is. Hey, the two men behind her have such good figures. Maybe this female celebrity is trying to get in between the two brothers' beautiful romance. Don't say that, it's disgusting. Let me decode the code. The variety show is two under one roof, and the female guest is Xianxia, who has been in the limelight recently, while the male guest is Shi Sui, the best actor. The older brother is a PhD student named Xianxia, who is very impressive. Seriously? I watched the live stream yesterday and had a good impression of Xianxia. Why is she causing trouble again today? She's always seducing men." The news caught them off guard, but Xing Chun Entertainment, which Shi Sui was in, still immediately released a statement. However, Tomato Entertainment, which Xianxia was in, didn't respond for a long time, which inevitably caused people to speculate. Little did they know that Tomato Entertainment felt that it was also a way to make a name for themselves. Once they gained popularity, they could even help the company's newcomers. Why would they go against money? Anyway, Xianxia had been scolded all this while. So what if they scolded her a little more? In the manner. After having breakfast with Sheng Wang, Xianxia exchanged contact information with Xianxia and reluctantly said goodbye. Although the three masters wanted to stay behind to teach, they were all tied up with miscellaneous matters and could only make an appointment later. Only Xianxia, Shi Sui, and Xianxia were left at the dining table. "Brother Shi Sui, try this xiaomai. Brother Shi Sui, this shrimp dumpling is also delicious. I added less salt according to your taste. Brother Shi Sui, do you want another bowl of kanji? I'll get it for you." Xianxia gritted his teeth. "It's not like he doesn't have hands." Shi Sui said kindly, "Sister E, you don't have to be so nice to me. Anyway, I'm used to it. Your second brother is in a bad mood. You should coax him more." Xianxia, if it weren't for the fact that Shi Sui was still a decent person last night and nothing had happened between the two of them, he would have ordered his bodyguards to break this guy's legs. With his intelligence back, Xianxia's eyes lit up. "Tutu went to your room. Didn't you feel anything?" Hearing this, Xianxia also felt that something was wrong. Shi Sui wasn't tricking her, was he? "I drank a lot last night, too," Shi Sui said calmly. This was the truth, but he wasn't drunk. However, this sentence successfully misled Xianxia. If it were someone else, Xianxia might have questioned it. However, she had a natural sense of trust when it came to Shi Sui. After all, in her memory, Shi Sui had always been a gentle and reliable older brother. Little did she know that the gentlemanly image was just an illusion. The big tail behind him had been wagging long ago. At this moment, Li Jinyu rushed in. Chapter 243. "Daddy Shi, bad news. There's news about you and Sister E." Li Jinyu was sweating profusely as he handed the phone to Shi Sui. Xianxia tilted her head to take a look, but was stopped by Li Jinyu. "It should have been leaked by our crew. I'm investigating it now." "Sister E, don't worry. I'll definitely give you an explanation." Xianxia immediately understood and asked calmly, "Someone is scolding me?" Li Jinyu was a little helpless. "Yeah." Soon, Shi Sui's manager, Si Chuanbai, called, and he got up to the balcony to pick it up. Si Chuanbai said concisely. The announcement has been made. I need to confirm with you whether the two of you are in a relationship. If you are you going to make it public? I'll have to prepare for the next step. Shi Sui looked up at Xianxia. Not at the moment. Are you serious? Si Chuanbai was slightly stunned. I'll just ask directly. Is she worth it? She's worth it, she answered without hesitation. Si Chuanbai was silent for a while before saying, All right, I understand. Since it's your choice, I'll respect and cooperate with you. Then you. She chuckled lazily. Aren't you going to wish me a happy marriage in advance? The originally serious atmosphere was forcefully diverted by Shi Sui's flirtatious words. Si Chuanbai took a deep breath and mocked. You're not even in a relationship and you're already thinking about getting married? Haha, why don't you find a naming master to help you come up with a few baby names? All right, remember to find a master who's more expensive. Thank you. Xianxia also received a video call from Annan. On the screen, Annan was crying with a head full of colorful hair. Boo-hoo, they're so bad. Not only did they not help you with public relations, they even let a few newbies ride on your popularity. Trash company, why hasn't it closed down yet? Xianxia did not take these matters to heart. To her, it was far less important than what to make for lunch. All right, don't cry. Xianxia comforted him. If it really goes bankrupt, won't you lose your job too? Annan sniffed. Then when the time comes, I'll be Tony's teacher and raise you by washing, cutting, and blowing. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. She imagined the scene and inexplicably felt that it was quite suitable for Annan. How can you still laugh? When the brothers from C7 heard about it, they were about to cry. Tell them that I'll find a way to solve it. Really? And do you want to come for lunch? I'll make your favorite braised pig trotters. Gulp. In the video, Annan clearly swallowed his saliva. All right then. See you at noon. He hung up the phone. Xianxia met her brother's gaze. Xianxia frowned and tapped the table with his left hand. The time between each tap was exactly the same. How are you going to resolve this? Xianxia said frankly, I don't know. Xianxia's eyebrows twitched. Then why did you make such a solemn vow? The girl's face bloomed into a smile, revealing her small dimples. Because I have you. If it was in the fast transmigration world, she would have desperately fought to survive. But now, she wanted to rely on her brother a little. Oh, idiot, you can't even do this? Although he said that, Xianxia's eyes were full of smiles. He coughed lightly. You want me to help you? Beg me. Xianxia clasped her hands together and softly said coquettishly, Brother, I beg you to help me, okay? Wait. Xianxia interrupted her. He skillfully turned on the camera and said in all seriousness, Let's do it again. I didn't record it just now. Chapter 244. Other than doting on her, what else could her brother do? Xianxia opened for business. Brother, I beg you, stop. I don't even deserve an adjective. The most talented and handsome brother in the world. I beg you to help me. That's it? Where's your sincerity? I don't feel it all. Brother, you're the best. I'll make you anything you want to eat. Do your hands hurt? I'll give you a massage. After recording for more than 10 minutes, Xianxia finally chose one and sent it out one by one. 2. Not so smart Xiao. Not so silly Xiao. Big brother with a decent IQTO. Little uncle not smart. Not long after, Xianxia received a reply. Not so smart Xiao. Little sister is so cute. Not so silly Xiao. She even praised me the day before yesterday for being the best brother. Cry/ball, little uncle not smart. You're bullying little Xianxia again. Big brother with a decent IQ, Big brother with a decent IQ. She's back. Xianxia used an affirmative reply. Xianxia smiled and replied, Yes. Big brother with a decent IQ. Confirm if that person will appear again. Seeing this, Xianxia frowned slightly. He suddenly felt disgusted when he thought of the existence that had occupied his sister's body for the past year. In fact, Xianxia had already noticed that something was wrong from the beginning. That was why Xianxia signed the agreement to restrict Xianxia from causing trouble. After interacting with Xianxia, Xianxia had also guessed it. Xianxia had his suspicions, but he wasn't sure. Xianxia had a vague feeling that his sister was acting strangely. As for Xianfeng, it was better not to mention it. In the manner The filming was done at night on weekdays, so the staff still had a lot of free time during the day. Xiaoyang looked at the balance on his cell phone and was extremely excited. It turned out that a piece of news could be sold for so much money. After tasting the sweetness of it, he was thinking about how to shoot a more exciting video. If he did it a few more times, wouldn't he be able to become rich? Seeing the girl watering the flowers with a watering can in the sea of flowers outside the window, greed appeared in Xiaoyang's eyes. If he put a few pinhole cameras in her bedroom and bathroom, he might be able to get a video that could be sold at a sky-high price. Or he could threaten her. Thinking of the FRB kneeling at his feet and begging him, Xiaoyang felt great. Just as he was searching for a camera on the internet. Bang! The door was kicked open by someone. Looking at the few well-built bodyguards at the door, Xiaoyang was scared witless. His voice trembled uncontrollably. "This is my room. It's too disrespectful of you to barge in like this." These bodyguards had been secretly protecting Xianxia all year round, and they had long developed the habit of obeying orders. He didn't waste any more words with him and directly carried him to the courtyard. "Hey, what is the meaning of this? Let me go." Xiaoyang yelled. "I'm the assistant cameraman of the production crew. Do you guys have any respect for our production crew?" When the staff saw this, they all gathered around. "What's going on? Hey, what right do you have to do this? Director Li, look at them. This is too much." Li Jianyu's face was cold. Quiet. He was usually joking around, and the average age of the staff was young, so no one was afraid of him. However, when Li Jianyu became serious, the scene suddenly quieted down. The news on Weibo today was a mistake by our production crew. Here, in addition to apologizing to Teacher Xianxia, I also want to seek justice for Teacher Xianxia. Chapter 245. Li Jianyu's sharp gaze shot towards Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang's face was pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. However, he refused to admit it. "Are you suspecting me? How could I do such a thing?" Li Jianyu said coldly. "If you admit it now, I won't hold you legally responsible." He wanted to give Xiaoyang one last chance. However, Xiaoyang thought that he was bluffing. Didn't he just take a video? Why would he be held legally responsible? Moreover, he had deleted all the chat records and used a distant relative's bank account to collect the money. In his opinion, he had done a perfect job. "I didn't do it. I swear. Otherwise, I'll be hit by a car when I go out." Xiaoyang swore. A few staff members who were familiar with him spoke up for him. "Director Li, is there a misunderstanding? Xiaoyang is usually a good person. He's not that kind of person." Li Jianyu's expression was cold. "Since you don't want a chance, don't blame me for being merciless." He took out the evidence directly. The video was recorded at 5 o'clock in the morning. The marketing account exposed it at 7 o'clock in the morning. At that time, most of us were still asleep. Dr. Xiang wrote a small program to capture the most Wi-Fi traffic devices in this area. "It's your phone." Xiaoyang's expression changed drastically. He had habitually connected to the Wi-Fi. He did not expect this to be evidence. However, he quickly retorted, "I just woke up early and played with my phone for a while. The video could have been sent by someone else." Li Jianyu said, "How long are you going to be stubborn?" Dr. Xiang traced the source of the video. "It was sent by your device." Then it could have been sent by someone else using my phone." Xiaoyang's words were full of loopholes. The staff members who had spoken up for him earlier felt their hearts turn cold. Seeing this, Xiaoyang decided to go all out. "So what if I was the one who took the video? Why don't you blame Xianxia for seducing Shui? Why are you blaming me?" Li Jianyu was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Invading other people's privacy, and you still think you're right? If she had kept her private life in check, I wouldn't have been able to take that video, Xiaoyang said with conviction. At the end of the day, it was her fault. The next second, a certain Siscon doctor grabbed his collar with one hand. His eyes were dark and murderous. Xiaoyang wailed, "Someone's been beaten up. Someone's been beaten to death. Help!" Li Jianyu was speechless. He had never seen a thief crying thief. Xianxia suddenly smiled. "What do you think is more terrifying than death?" Xiaoyang froze. "It's a life worse than death." Xianxia raised his eyebrows. "Do you want to try?" Xiaoyang's pupils dilated. He was a little scared. He subconsciously searched for Xianxia. She had a gentle temper and was easy to talk to. As long as he begged her properly, she would definitely forgive him. Not far away, the young girl looked calm. She was still watering the flowers unhurriedly, as if she did not take this matter to heart. Teacher Xianxia, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I'll apologize to you, okay? I'm still young and ignorant. Please don't take it to heart. Pfft. A chuckle came from the handsome man beside the young girl. Shui was obviously smiling, but his peach blossom eyes seemed to be mixed with ice. There was no trace of warmth in them. You think you're worthy of calling her name? Chapter 246. The man's aura was too strong and overwhelming. Xiaoyang met his gaze for a few seconds, and his legs turned to jelly. With a bang, he fell to the ground, and his phone slipped out of his pocket. The screen was still lit up and displayed keywords such as pinhole camera, bedroom, bathroom, secret camera. Shui's eyes narrowed, and he exuded a dangerous aura from head to toe. Xiaoyang was on the verge of tears and completely lost his previous arrogance. I didn't install this. I was just thinking about it. Is it illegal to think about it? Shui's aura became even colder. He couldn't bear to mess around with this little girl. What right did this piece of trash have to think about hurting her? Xianxia, bring your sister into the house, Shui said in a low voice. I can solve my sister's problem, Xianxia said unhappily. Then when she cries later, will you coax her? Xianxia gritted his teeth and grabbed Xiangxi's wrist and walked to the living room. Xiangxi's focus was completely different from the two of them. I'm not scared. I haven't finished watering my flowers, Xianxia said seriously. No, you're scared. Xianxia said, okay, I'm scared. Xianxia nodded in satisfaction. Okay, I'll protect you. Anand drove his small shabby car to the manor early in the morning. When he arrived, there were still some staff members in the garden who hadn't left yet. They were gathered in small groups and whispering about something. Oh my God, Shui looks so cool when he's angry. He looks so good wearing glasses and sneering. I heard that he has a good temper. He didn't even take it to heart when his assistant betrayed him, but I didn't expect him to be so serious this time. Xiaoyang is really too much. But after today's incident, he can forget about staying in this industry in the future. Anand listened to the gossip for a while before rushing into the villa. Good boy, I'm here. In front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Xianxia was combing Xiao Naofu's fur. The little kitten was sleeping soundly with its head facing the sky and snoring contentedly. Anand, humans are not as good as cats. Xianxia smiled and said, the pork trotters are ready. Is there anything else you want to eat? I'll eat whatever you make. Anand chuckled. He took out his phone and showed it to Xianxia. That's strange. Our company has changed. They're actually helping you with public relations. On the screen was a statement issued by Tomato Entertainment. In addition to condemning the person who took the photo and the marketing account, there was also a lawyer's letter of warning. The netizens in the comment section were all stunned. You've lived long enough to see anything. Tomato Entertainment actually has a PR department? OMG, FQ didn't even appear when C7's fans were fighting so fiercely. This time, he actually stepped in personally for the vase fairy. Oh wow, this Lyncham law firm is one of the top law firms in the country. Why would they take on such a small case involving an artist's reputation? There were also two groups of fans who didn't like each other. Marketing accounts are taking things out of context to begin with. What could a video prove? Don't you know that Shurendi hates women? There's no way he likes Xianxia. With all due respect, our sister E is both salty and sweet. She's rich and talented, and she even has a few immortal brothers. Please don't mislead us. Our sister E just wants to be beautiful by herself. But more than that, the CP fans were celebrating. There should be a dozen more trending searches like this. We're in the same room. Sisters, I'll call you first. In 2 days, I'm going overseas to shoot a double magazine cover. I don't care. Honey, moon, duck. Chapter 247. I know about the magazine cover. She heard that this was a resource that third brother brought into the production team. But what's the meaning of a honeymoon? Also, what does untimely as real mean? Xianxia rested her chin on her hands, feeling extremely confused. Was it because she hadn't surfed the internet for too long? Why couldn't she understand what everyone was saying? Annan's jaw dropped. It can't be, can it? Don't you know that you and Xianxia have CP fans? Xianxia, it's been a little popular recently. You guys are no longer the Arctic Circle couple. I even want to eat some candy. I have to say, everyone is really a girl under a microscope. Annan sighed as he searched for the topic, untimely boyfriend for Xianxia. He skillfully entered the comments section, signed in, and forwarded the comments section. Then, he found the best posts and showed them to Xianxia. A few minutes later, Xianxia looked a little absent-minded. It seemed a little sweet. Could this be the legendary? I kowtowed to myself. What are you looking at? Xianxia poured a glass of water and sat down beside them. Annan urged, it's a super story. Brother, do you want to see it? It's very sweet. It's a must to relieve stress. Really? Xianxia lowered his head to look at her, wanting to have more common topics to talk about with his sister. Untimely, super sweet. Shusui's sister E is moved, edited. Sweeter than first love. Did today's untimely official proclamation. From the first meeting, 10,000 years have passed. Thousands of characters fan, when 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 fanon minute. 2 minutes. Xianxia maintained the same posture and did not move. However, his expression became more and more solemn. However, Annan still asked heartlessly, Brother, how is it? Isn't it beautiful? Xianxia put down the cup, rubbed his eyebrows, and looked at Xianxia with a straight face. Come with me. Xianxia didn't know what was going on and followed him to the balcony. Xianxia's opening speech was very cold. Recite the 16th rule of the family. Xianxia recalled for a moment. The dangers of puppy love are as follows. First, it's easy to be cheated by a man. Second, out of the corner of his eye, Xianxia caught a glimpse of a tall and slender figure. His expression did not change as he waited for his sister to finish reciting. Only then did he leisurely say, So, no early love. Xianxia. The little girl said weakly, Brother, I'm already 20 years old. What's wrong with being 20 years old? I'm not your brother anymore when I'm 20. Xianxia had always been obedient in front of her brother. Oh, okay. Xianxia patted her little head. Good girl. He raised his eyebrows at Shui, who was not far away, as if he was openly provoking her. Shui clicked his tongue and mouth. Okay. Childish. Xianxia didn't take it seriously. After Shui walked away, he suddenly asked, Tell me, where have you been in the past year? Xianxia widened her eyes. What's there to be surprised about? Do you think I'm the same as little uncle and can't even see that? Xianxia smiled slightly, like an old fox. Tutu, are you insulting your brother's intelligence? Time passed. Xianxia briefly summarized her experience in the past year. Xianxia listened very carefully. He tapped the railing again and again. The rhythm was accurate. Do you think the initial opportunity was the car accident? Xianxia was stunned. Isn't it? Xianxia's voice was very deep. There's a problem. That person may come back. Chapter 248. The sky was overcast. It was the rainy season, and there would be showers from time to time. The sound of thunder came from afar, and the dull roar exploded in their ears. Xianxia was stunned, as if she couldn't believe it. After a long time, she came back to her senses. Brother, you mean that person's appearance is not a coincidence? Behind all coincidences, there is a certainty. According to the rules of the system that you said, only souls on the verge of death can be selected. Then you actually don't fit this rule, because your injuries are not that serious. A year ago, Xianxia was in a car accident and fainted on the spot. However, she woke up in just a few hours and only suffered some external injuries. Xianxia frowned. She tried to keep up with her second brother's rhythm. In other words, I might not be the one selected to travel between worlds. That's right. Maybe you just unconsciously became someone's scapegoat. Think about it carefully. Not all the worlds you go to are safe, right? Physical injuries are small, but if your soul is wiped out, you will disappear forever. This logic is not difficult to deduce. If it's just a trip around the world, then traveling between worlds is the reward. However, if it's a life-threatening mission, then no one will be willing to accept it. A gust of wind blew, and Xianxia suddenly felt a little cold. Xianxia paused. He was silent for a few seconds, took off his coat, and put it on his sister's shoulders. This is just my analysis. It can't be proven false. Just listen to me. The girl's eyes fell on her brother's right hand, and her breath stopped. If it was really as her brother speculated, that person might take over her body again. What if her brother was hurt again? She felt a light pat on her back, and her brother's gentle voice rang in her ears. Don't hold your breath. What if you hurt yourself? Xianxia felt a little choked up. He remembered all her little habits. Brother, let's exchange a secret signal. If one day I can't answer, don't believe anything that I say, and don't make any sacrifices for me. Xianxia tried hard to squeeze out a smile, but it was uglier than crying. The family that she valued the most had been trampled on so wantonly. It was also very likely that it was not an accident. It was a conspiracy. If you can't laugh, then don't laugh. Xianxia pinched his cheek and pondered for a few seconds. You want to cry for a while? Don't worry, I have time. You can cry all you want. He was really and seriously comforting her. How about you cry for 5 minutes first? Shall I make a watch for you? Xianxia was amused by him. As she laughed, her eyes turned red. Brother, you're still the same as before. You don't know how to coax people. Then let's set our secret code. 5 minutes? All right. Xianxia inexplicably felt a lot more at ease after the brother and sister talked things out. It was as if he had been floating in the void for a long time and had finally found a foothold. Steady and steady, supporting her. She would never have to worry about not having a way out. By the way, how did you find out that something was wrong? Xianxia thought of the contract that her brother forced that person to sign. It was very detailed. Although it was childish, it restrained that person from doing whatever she wanted. To put it simply, it was okay to do small things, but there was no room for discussion for big things. Xianxia shook his head. I'm not sure, but something bad must have happened. Chapter 249. Xianxia felt a headache coming on. What exactly did the one occupying my body do to Big Brother? He knows that you're back. Go and explain to him. Xianxia was certain that Big Brother's IQ had always been high. Xianxia said pitifully, I'm scared. She had been most afraid of Big Brother ever since she was a child. Xianxia didn't respond. He would never admit that he was also afraid of Big Brother. Xianxia, the devil himself. His mouth was hard, but his heart was even harder. The whole family called him a man without a heart. Big Brother, when Big Brother comes back, can you come with me? Xianxia carefully tugged at Xiangli's sleeve. Little sister, you have to learn to be brave, okay? Although he was talking about chicken soup, his slender hand slowly pulled her hand away. He pulled it away. Xianxia was speechless. Just a second ago, he was so touching, but now he was so fragile. He was indeed her biological brother. Xianxia cleared his throat. I suggest you bring little uncle with you. He can help you take most of the firepower. With him around, Big Brother probably won't have time to scold you. Feng Feng of the Xiang family naturally had the attribute of attracting hatred. In a game, he would be a meat shield that would bleed but not shed tears. Xianxia was enlightened. Big Brother, you're indeed a genius. What you said makes sense. Xianxia put on her brother's jacket and returned to the living room. Shui, who was teasing Xiao Naofu, paused and glanced at her. Mr. C, you're here. Xianxia noticed Si Chuanbai. As a top manager, Si Chuanbai always dressed in a suit and leather shoes. She felt that he was more like a domineering CEO than little uncle. Si Chuanbai nodded. Miss Xiang. He was here to work with Shui. Annan stared at Si Chuanbai for a long time before moving closer to him and asking softly, Are those sparkling cufflinks made of obsidian? That envious look in her eyes was similar to when she bought a 5-cent popsicle when she was a child and saw her classmates eating a 5 yuan milk popsicle. Si Chuanbai, he smiled politely. Yes. Annan immediately let out a heartfelt sigh. Wow, they were both agents, but Si Chuanbai was clearly an elite in the workplace, and he's a social animal at best. Si Chuanbai, on the other hand, felt that Xiangyi's manager was too unreliable. That gaudy, colorful hair and that silly smile. Si Chuanbai also couldn't understand the way he interacted with Xiangyi. The two of them didn't seem like working partners. but more like best friends. Annan was hungry before dinner time, so Xianxia made him a bowl of noodles mixed with scallion oil. Seeing Annan eating so happily, Sichuanbai frowned. Was it really that delicious? Could it be an act? But when lunch was served, braised pig trotters, braised chicken feet, braised duck neck, braised dried tofu, braised mushrooms, a rich aroma assaulted his nostrils. The ingredients had all been stewed until they were soft and tender. They were wrapped in a layer of thick and shiny marinade and sprinkled with a little sesame to decorate them. This large platter of braised food instantly captured all of Sichuanbai's attention. He maintained a reserved image and picked up his chopsticks to pick up the stir-fried vegetables closest to him. Suddenly, a large and soft pig trotter was stuffed into his hands. Choo-choo. Don't stand on ceremony. This is the biggest. Annan gnawed on the chicken feet and said in a muffled voice, Sichuanbai, what a joke. He was such a strict, fastidious, and clean person. Would he be as rough as this little colorful hare and chew on a pig trotter? But why did this damn pig trotter smell so good? Chapter 250. Sichuanbai stared seriously at the pig trotter in his hand. After a few hours of marinating, it had a red and oily luster. It was a little hot in his hand, and the overbearing aroma went straight into his nose. He started to salivate uncontrollably. Just one bite would do. With the mentality of giving it a try, he elegantly tore off a bit and tasted it. The moment the tip of his tongue touched the marinated pig trotter, the collagen-rich pig trotter was incomparably soft. After chewing twice, it was fatty but not greasy. The meat was slightly springy and chewy. The aroma of the marinating sauce permeated every inch of the meat, even the bones. The combination of fragrance, sweetness, saltiness, freshness, and spiciness with a strong invasiveness instantly occupied Sichuanbai's taste buds. How could it be? How could it be this damn pig trotters were actually so delicious? Sichuanbai's hands trembled slightly. Slowly tearing and eating with his hands was no longer enough to satisfy him. Cursing under his breath, Sichuanbai raised the pig trotter and took a big bite. This brought about a sense of satisfaction that couldn't be found in small bites. The gold medal manager, who had always been known for being meticulous and serious, had lost all his image at this moment. He was holding the pig trotter and chewing happily. This scene fell into Annan's eyes. Had Mr. C never eaten good food before? The speed at which he swept everything away was too exaggerated. He must have been too busy and didn't have time to eat properly. Thinking of this, Annan looked at him with eyes full of sympathy. Thus, after Sichuanbai finished the pig trotter, there were chicken feet, braised eggs, dried tofu, lotus root slices on the plate in front of him. The initiator, Annan, still didn't know that he had caused Sichuanbai's image to be destroyed. He smiled foolishly at him. Sichuanbai's chewing paused slightly. This little colorful hare, after looking at it for a long time, was quite pleasing to the eye. After the meal, Sichuanbai wiped his hands and mouth with a wet towel and returned to his professional side. He looked at Shui and said in a low voice, I have something to tell you. Shui, He originally thought that his manager wanted to talk to him about something serious, but he didn't expect Sichuanbai to sincerely and seriously ask, Do you want me to help you look at the wedding venue? Do you want to look at the confinement center too? Speaking of children, there doesn't seem to be any good houses in the school district under your name. Sichuanbai's tone could only be described as angry. If you're like this, how can I be at ease with Miss Xianxia marrying you? Shui slowly typed a question mark. Where? Whose manager are you? Sichuanbai shook his head. No, you can't do this. Looks like I'll have to get you other jobs besides two under one roof. Otherwise, how are you going to make money for the baby's milk powder? Shui. Do I look like someone who can't support his wife and children? It doesn't matter if you're alone, but do you have the heart to let Miss Xianxia suffer with you? Do you want to be a gigolo? Shui raised her eyebrows. That's a good suggestion. Sichuanbai sneered, completely forgetting how much he despised Xianxia and betrayed her. Do you think you could be a gigolo just because you want to? Miss Xianxia is so popular. She's beautiful, kind, and good at cooking. There are a lot of puppies lining up to get her number. An old man like you who's almost 30 years old. What number can you get? Sure, Sway. Your ability to lose your memory on the spot is amazing. Smiley face. Chapter 251. Your ability to lose your memory on the spot is really amazing. Sure, Sway, who had been stabbed in the heart by his agent, rubbed his eyebrows and said helplessly, "It's only been one meal, and you're already part of her family? If I were part of Miss Xianxi's family." Sichuanbai paused and smiled. "You wouldn't even be able to enter our house." Sure, Sway. He habitually searched for Xianxi's figure and looked around. Xiang Li was cleaning up the dishes. The men of the Xiang family had always been very conscientious when it came to housework. Anan was studying Si Chuanbai's rare leather briefcase. Even with Si Chuanbai's permission, he still didn't dare to touch it. Finally, he saw Xiangyi by the tatami mats near the floor-to-ceiling windows. The girl was coaxing Xiao Naofu to eat the hair cream, but it refused to eat it. "Xiao Naofu, if you don't eat this, you'll have a hairball in your stomach." Xiangyi softly coaxed it. Xiao Naofu, who knew her temper, not only refused to eat it, but it also angrily slapped the hair cream to the ground with its paws. Xiangyi was at her wit's end. Just as she was at her wit's end, Shi Sui suddenly came to her side and picked up Xiao Naofu. Xiao Naofu saw that it was him and clawed at the air in horror. "Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Stupid woman, save me. Take a picture." Shi Sui's tone was thin. He pressed one hand on Xiao Naofu's paw and pointed to the hair cream on the ground. "Crime scene, cat dirty." Xiangyi blinked her eyes and did as she was told. She snapped a photo. Xiao Naofu. "Meow, meow, meow. This hoo-hoo is not a cat." Shi Sui. Criminal Xiao Naofu, sentenced to 3 days in jail and deprived of dried fish for a week. Xiao Naofu seemed to have suffered a huge blow. Its face was round, and its cat eyes were even rounder. It cried out pitifully and aggrievedly. "Meow, meow, meow." Xiangyi's heart softened as soon as it acted like a spoiled child. "Forget it. It's its first offense. Give a chance." Shi Sui pondered for a moment and said, "If you behave well, the execution can be postponed." He held the kitten in front of him and raised his eyebrows. "Listen to sister, okay?" He deliberately chose a blind spot in Xiangyi's field of vision and mouth, "or I'll take you to sterilize." Xiao Naofu was so scared that its tail curled into a ball, protecting its vital parts. When he returned Xiao Naofu to Xiangyi, the little cat was extremely well behaved. Not only did it eat the hair balm, but it also extended its paws to let Xiangyi cut its nails. Xiangyi was amazed. "I feel that you will be very good at taking care of Zai Zai in the future." Shi Sui chuckled. "Really? Well, I'm different. I'll probably become the type who spoils the children." Shi Sui spoke slowly. "In a family, it's enough to have one who can take care of Zai Zai." His voice was as light as a feather, so Xiangyi didn't hear it clearly. She turned her small face. "Huh? What did you say?" Shi Sui's thin lips curved slightly, and his eyes lovingly touched Xiao Naofu's head. "Nothing. I just suddenly feel that Xiao Naofu is quite cute." Xiao Naofu's fur was about to explode. "Ah, don't touch me." On the other side, Anan excitedly grabbed Si Chuanbai's arm. "Candy. It's Candy. Look at this scene. Doesn't it look like a family of 3? Si Chuanbai was indifferent. "Huh." Anan was excited. "We're going on our honeymoon soon. It's like a wedding trip." At the mention of this, Si Chuanbai suddenly thought of something. "Are you in charge of booking the tickets?" "Huh? You didn't?" Anan was dumbfounded. Chapter 252. The two of them looked at each other for a few seconds. They realized that something was wrong. Si Chuanbai's face was sullen. Originally, Shi Sui's assistant was in charge of these chores, but that person was fired for betraying Shi Sui. After that, Shi Sui came to film 2 Under One Roof, and the matter of finding an assistant was put on hold. Shi Sui wasn't the only one he brought along, and he was usually very busy. If he hadn't come over today, he wouldn't have even thought of booking a plane ticket. Although Si Chuanbai didn't say anything, Anan blamed himself. "I'm sorry, I've been dealing with the endorsement of Guoguai recently. I thought you had already booked it. I'll book the tickets now." He opened the ticketing software and found that all the tickets from Nanxing to France had been sold out. What should we do? Nan was getting more and more flustered. If we can't make it, won't the cover of the double magazine be ruined? Sichuanbai said, Don't worry. See if there are any flights in the neighboring cities. Nan exclaimed, yes, I'll take a look now. However, unfortunately, the tickets to Country F from the nearby cities were all sold out. It would take 4 or 5 hours to drive to the nearest city where tickets were available, and there were no first class or business class tickets available. The flight to France would take a long time, and it would be very tiring to sit in the economy class. Then, they would have to go for a high-intensity shoot. Si Chuanbai's brows were furrowed so tightly that they could almost kill a fly. Anen looked like he was about to cry. Book the economy class tickets first. I'll take care of the rest. In the evening, in a live stream of Two Under One Roof, the two agents left after lunch. Xianxia received an urgent call in the evening and returned to the Research Institute for the time being. The plain and heartwarming scene attracted the attention of countless netizens. There were only 2 people and a cat at the dinner table, and the netizens immediately began to tease them. Two Under One Roof? Look what I found. Today, Shui and Sister E are both wearing white clothes, and Xiao Naofu is white too. They're openly wearing parent-child outfits. What parent-child outfits? Ha ha ha. Xiao Naofu is offended. What the F***CK? Shui is actually putting food in the vase fairy's bowl. Under everyone's gaze, the man in the camera calmly and naturally served Xianxia food and soup. It could be said that he was extremely virtuous. Rest early later. I'll clean up and give Xiao Naofu a bath. The netizens who had watched the video in the morning were dumbfounded. How did the plot turn around so quickly? The comments section instantly became lively. Don't you guys think that Xianxia looks like a virtuous husband and father? What kind of bullsh**T were these marketing accounts spouting? Was this called the vase fairy seducing Xianxia? This is called Xianxia trying to please the vase fairy. The way Xianxia looks at Sister, he is really different. If you don't believe me, you can compare the way he looks at other women in the movies. Aren't CP fans so annoying? This is obviously a script. Are there really idiots who believe that variety shows don't have scripts these days? Oh my god, there's a big fan of Xianxia on Weibo called All Is Well Year Round, who want to stop being a fan. I can't watch the drama anymore. F***CK. This rich woman is super famous in the industry. She's Xianxia's wife fan. Is she going to tear the Xiang actress apart? I'm rubbing my hands excitedly. Although it was a Monday, the traffic was at its peak at night. The netizens who were watching the drama quickly flooded into All Is Well Year Round on Weibo. Half an hour ago, she had posted a long Weibo post filled with righteous indignation. Chapter 253. All Is Well Year Round V. I've been your fan for so many years, and I've accompanied you through your darkest days as well as your glorious days. In the past, I used to think that you were misogynistic and couldn't even act in scenes where you held hands with girls. Even if I knew you didn't belong to me, you wouldn't belong to anyone. But now I really don't understand why you and a certain female celebrity are being linked together as a couple. To be honest, I don't object to you being linked together as a couple, but you should at least find a decent one. A certain female celebrity. I think it's an insult to the word social climbing. Every time I watch the live stream, my heart bleeds while others are laughing. When I see a certain female celebrity leeching off your popularity like a vampire, I want to rip her face off. But what about you? Not only do you not keep your distance from her, you're even getting more and more intimate with her. Don't you feel sick just from touching her? Or do you insist on linking up with such a woman, even if you're going to throw up? What infuriates me the most is the information that others have leaked to me. After your assistant left, you didn't find a new one because a certain female celebrity wanted to be your assistant. She's so delicate and weak. How can she take care of others? How can she take care of you? You're going abroad in 2 days, but you only bought a ticket today, and it's economy class. A few hours of transfer and more than 10 hours of flight. Must you be so mean to yourself? I'm very tired now, really tired. If you continue to link up with a certain female celebrity, I'll consider not being your fan anymore. This blogger had hundreds of thousands of fans and was also quite famous in the fandom circle. The number of comments below soon exceeded 10,000. That's right. Someone finally said, "What's on my mind? Don't talk nonsense. The vase fairy is just not worthy of being your idol." Where did she get the cheek to say that she wants to be Gidge's assistant? Oh my god, she can't even book a plane ticket. Forgive me for being blunt, but she's a moron. I'm crying. Why is Gidge so pitiful? Did the company force him to do this? I'm really going crazy after seeing the CP fans. How disgusting. Gidge belongs to all of us, not that be asterisk TCH. I'm so immersed. The thought of my idol being in love makes me want to kill someone. However, there were also netizens who raised doubts. If you don't understand, just ask. Sure, Ingdi isn't an idol, right? It's understandable that idols are forbidden from dating, but since when are actors not allowed to date? After so many days of live streaming, Xianxia should be the most polite to Shui. On the other hand, Shui is the one who's taking the initiative to express her goodwill. Isn't Shui the one who's hyping up the couple? Let's not talk about whether the assistant is real or not. Which celebrity would book their own plane tickets? The comments on Weibo were arguing nonstop, and the live stream was also arguing with each other. Buzz! The phone on the dining table vibrated. Xiaomi picked it up and saw that it was a message from Annan. It started with a screenshot, followed by a series of crying emojis. She replied and looked at Shui. Annan said that tomorrow's flight was suddenly canceled because of the airport scheduling. Why don't I get someone to arrange for us to leave earlier tonight? Shui. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xiaomi said indifferently. Okay. In the live stream, the fans who had rushed over after hearing the news were about to die of anger. You think we'll leave just because you said so? How are you going to fly without a plane ticket? How are we going to fly without a flight? Do you have any common sense? I'm so angry, I'm so angry. The magazine cover is going to be ruined. It's all your fault. Chapter 254. In the manor, Xianxia found the butler's phone number and sent him a text message to explain the situation. Soon, she received a reply from the butler. On the day of her coming-of-age ceremony, her grandfather had given her a small private jet painted in a girlish pink color and named it Tutu Flight. I've asked, and he said that we can set off at any time. Xianxia put down her phone and continued. Shall we leave after the live stream? Shui naturally knew about the Tutu Flight. She nodded and informed Sichuanbai as well. Sichuanbai's reply was a long ellipsis. He and Little Colorful Feather were extremely anxious and frantically tried to buy tickets, thinking that it was a disaster. They didn't expect that it would be resolved so easily by Miss Xianxia. Sichuanbai tilted his head and looked at Annan, who was still checking the tickets, speechlessly. Why didn't you say earlier that your artiste has a private jet? What? Our good girl has a private jet. Isn't that something that only happens in television dramas? Annan's eyes widened. Wow, our good girl is really rich and beautiful. The corners of Sichuanbai's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Little Colorful Feather doesn't seem to be very smart. With an expressionless face, he sent a message to Shui. Sichuanbai, I suddenly remembered that you have a weak digestive system. The doctor suggests that you live off a woman. Shui. Question mark. Sichuanbai, line up early and try to get the number you love. Don't work hard. It's good to be a gigolo. Good luck. Good luck. Shui. As soon as Xianxia finished speaking within a few minutes, All is Well Year-Round posted on Weibo and began to mock her. All is well year-round. To a certain actress, do you own the airport? Do you know how troublesome it is to dispatch people at the airport? How can I own special privileges for you? What a joke. Even if you want to show off, you have to follow the rules. A bunch of fans chimed in, all of them criticizing Xianxia. Exactly. I feel disgusted just by looking at her face. It doesn't matter if her image is ruined, but what if our brother can't get the cover of the magazine? That magazine is the top international magazine. The Vase Fairy is so annoying. Without our brother, would she have the chance to shoot such a high-end fashion resource? It's fine if you don't cherish it, but you're dragging our brother down. You're a pest. The number of Shui's fans was comparable to that of the top celebrities. It was inevitable that there were some irrational girlfriend fans and wife fans who were extremely powerful. Several female celebrities who had worked with Xianxia before had been taught a lesson by them. This time, they followed their previous example and killed Xianxia superfans. As if that wasn't enough, they even killed Xianxia superfans. Xianxia's fans were furious, but there was a huge disparity in the number of people on both sides, so they couldn't fight back. Until someone commented on "All is well year-round" on Weibo frowny face. Do you have eyes? Xianxia's manor is so big, and she has a few awesome brothers, a gaming guru, a top designer, and a genius medical doctor. It's normal for her family to have a private jet, right? All is well year-round came from a well-to-do family in real life, so she boasted that she knew a lot. Even if she has a private jet, do you think you can fly whenever you want? Don't you need to apply for the flight route? Ridiculous. She said that she can fly whenever she wants. Why don't she fly for me to see? As soon as she clicked send, a message suddenly popped up in her message box. F***CK, a private jet really landed at the Vase Fairies Manor. Chapter 255. In the manor, the camera was pointed out of the floor-to-ceiling window, clearly capturing the private jet hovering at a low altitude. The propellers spun as the jet slowly descended to the ground. It was a pink plane with rabbit ears painted in white in front of the cockpit. There was also a line of English letters on the fuselage. Rabbit. There was an uproar in the live stream. I'm getting goosebumps. Is this the daily life of Ms. Perfect? Rabbit? Tutu flight? Ah, Tutu is on Tutu flight. She's so cute. Ha ha. Our sister Yi's face slapping may be late, but she'll never miss it. Someone uploaded the Weibo post about the flight route application to the live stream. After Li Jinyu saw it, he was a little curious and couldn't help but ask, Sister E, don't you have to apply for a flight route for a plane? Can your Tutu flight fly to France? Xianxia, Uncle Butler is in charge of this. It seems that he has to apply for a flight route and airspace in one go. Then, regardless of whether he's flying or not, he will send out a flight plan every day. That way, he can fly whenever he wants. However, apart from the annual family trip, she didn't usually use the Tutu flight. The netizens in the live stream, got it. Where do you get the plane? A friendly reminder, of course you can fly if you want, but the flight route costs money. So does the plane maintenance and fuel. This trip is much more expensive than a plane ticket. I just checked, the Tutu flight model costs about 100 million yuan. After buying the plane, you'll have to hire a pilot and crew, as well as maintenance and service personnel. In other words, you'll have to be able to afford the plane and the crew too. On Weibo, All is Well Year was immediately mocked. Looking at the mocking comments made by the netizens, she was so angry that she smashed her phone. She had liked Xianxia for so long and had done so much for her. But why did Xianxia have to let her down? Originally, she felt a sense of superiority when compared with Xianxia. She was just a female celebrity. How could a variety star who was hated by everyone on the internet compare to her? However, with the popularity of Two Under One Roof, she gradually realized how outstanding Xianxia was. A strong sense of crisis enveloped All is Well year-round. She couldn't accept this reality. Maybe it was just that Xianxia didn't see her. If he had seen her, perhaps everything would have been different. Paranoid thoughts continued to linger in her mind. She picked up the phone that had a crack on the screen and slowly typed. At 9 o'clock, the live broadcast ended. Xianxia had already packed her luggage in advance. She didn't bring too many things with her, as it would only take her 3 days to complete the shoot. She made a video call to her fourth brother, Xianxia. Xianxia stared straight at Xiao Naofu, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down. Xiao Naofu, live well with fourth brother for the next 3 days. The girl wanted to kiss it, but the little cat dodged. Xiao Naofu was extremely aggrieved. Meow, this hoe wants to go too. The plane will vibrate violently when it takes off and lands. You might feel very uncomfortable or even get sick. Xiao Naofu's pointed cat ears drooped as it leaned on her shoulder sullenly. Fourth brother will take good care of you. Hey, do you remember him? Xiao Naofu glanced at the esports guru in the video. Meow. On the other end of the video call, Xianxia seemed very calm, but his heart was in turmoil. "Oh, it's meowing at me." Chapter 256. Xianxia cleared his throat. "Ahem, sis, don't worry." Xianxia reluctantly put Xiao Naofu into the cat bag and handed it to Li Jinyu. As for why Li Jinyu was chosen, it all started from the time when Smog's cat fetish was seen by the entire internet and caused a social disaster. The fans of Two Under One Roof requested that the production crew go to the Logic Team's base to film a follow-up. Li Jinyu obtained permission and took the opportunity to bring the cameraman there for a short live stream. While the tutu was soaring in the starry sky, in the villa area of Nansheng, Logic's esports base was still brightly lit. After a round of APM hand speed training, the team manager clapped his hands and said loudly, "The takeout has arrived. Everyone, take a break. It just so happens that the crew of Two Under One Roof is also here. Let's do a short live stream." "Oh, Xiao Naofu is here?" Captain Wander's eyes lit up, and the other guys had similar reactions. The calmest one was Xianxia. The team manager laughed and said, "Yes, our Sameo G's little wife is here. Ever since Xiangxia's cat fetish last time, everyone had joked that Xiao Naofu was his little wife." Xianxia walked out of the training room coldly. In the spacious living room, Li Jinyu and the others had finished adjusting the equipment and happened to film Xianxia. The live stream room was bustling with noise and excitement. It's Sameo Gu. Look at you guys calling him Sameo Gu so much, I can't remember his English name anymore. Big Brother looks so cool in black. Who would have thought that Big Brother was a cat fetish maniac? The cat bag was placed on the ground, and Li Jinyu unzipped it. Xiao Naofu stuck out half of its head cutely. Its pointy cat ears trembled, and its clear, sapphire-like eyes stared straight at Xianxia. The young esports god paused for 2 seconds before walking over with one hand in his pocket. He looked down at the soft white cat condescendingly. "Xiao Naofu, listen to me. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. Kittens should behave like kittens. First, eat at a designated place and don't climb onto the table. Second, sleep in your own nest and don't climb onto the bed. Third, every player here is busy. Don't disturb your brothers during training. Fourth," after a dozen or so lines, Xianxia finally stopped and asked coldly, "Have you memorized them?" Xiao Naofu meowed obediently. "Meow, meow, meow, I know." In fact, Xiao Naofu's inner thoughts were, "A poop picker dares to talk so much to this ho? Do you believe that this ho-who's most smelly poop will suffocate you to death?" Little did it know that its childish cry had accurately hit Xianxia's heart. "Oh, it is so lovely." The next second, Xiao Naofu nimbly jumped onto the dining chair, and with a second jump, landed on the dining table. Its meaty little paws scratched the plastic bag containing the takeout twice, sniffed it curiously, and pushed it away in disgust. "Tisk, it's not even 1/10,000th of the food made by that stupid woman." It sat down on the dining table and tilted its head to look up at Yusheng. "Li Jinyu, Smog, Xiao Naofu is too naughty. How about we chase it down?" Xiangyu's expression didn't change. He picked up the takeout bag and righteously said, "I haven't had time to buy a cat tree. This dining table will be its cat tree." "Li Jinyu." Xianxia raised his eyebrows and looked at his teammates. "Hey, what are you looking at? Do we have to eat at the dining table?" His teammates. "Who the hell are you setting these rules for?" "Dash, I'm so tired that I'm running a low fever. I'm going to take a nap and write again. Everyone can come back tomorrow. I'll make it up to you when I'm done." Clasped hands. Chapter 257. 2 minutes later, in the esports base, a group of young boys held lunchboxes and sat cross-legged, sullen. They sat on the ground next to the dining table. Xiao Naofu occupied the entire table with an open can of luxurious meat, a bowl of warm goat milk, and a few small dried fish in front of it. In the live stream, as expected of Sameo Go, his cat's slave nature has been exposed. "Xiao Naofu, I heard you're going to set rules for me? What are the rules?" "Ha ha, I'm laughing so hard that the geese in the yard are squawking with me." Some netizens also argued, "Am I the only one who thinks there's something wrong with Xianxia? Cats are just animals. Why should they be allowed to sit on the dining table?" "That's right, don't tell me the other contestants don't mind. He's too selfish, He doesn't care about other people's feelings at all. At this moment, Xiao Naofu was scalded by the goat milk and meowed in a coquettish voice, sounding extremely aggrieved. In an instant, Captain Wander stood up and scooted over. "Oh, did you scald our little baby? Come on, have some canned food first. Let's blow on the goat milk under the air conditioner." Netizens, huh? The medic, Ashue, knocked on the lunchbox with his chopsticks and said angrily, "Smog, is this how you take care of Xiao Naofu? If you can't do it, let me do it." Netizens. Maid Xiao Naofu bent over the edge of the table and stared at the little cat. "Xiao Naofu, Sameo Gu is a scumbag. Why don't you sleep on my place tonight? I'll warm your cat bed." Netizens. Xianxia was speechless. "Hey, stay away from it. Don't scare it." He picked up a small dried fish and fed it to Xiao Naofu's mouth. Xiao Naofu took a bite and then rubbed its head against his palm, meowing softly. "Meow," Xianxia asked uncertainly. "Do you want a hug?" "Meow." The young esports god suppressed his excitement and pretended to pick up the little cat nonchalantly. It was the standard posture of holding a child. Xiao Naofu nestled in his arms, nibbling on dried fish as it rubbed against Yu. The young man's t-shirt was pulled down quite a bit, revealing his clean and distinct collarbone. Meow, meow. The kitten was so obedient that it seemed to be saying, "I love my brother the most." Xianxia raised his chin slightly and looked around provocatively. "I'm sorry, but this is my cat. Please don't think about it." His teammates. "Look at how smug you are. Was it a big deal to have a cat? Woo woo woo, this despicable cat's chosen son." Seeing this scene, the netizens laughed like crazy. Xiao Naofu is really spoiled. Shocking. Team Logic's rage was actually for Green TX. "Director Lee, you're in charge of sending me to the base. Leave the rest to me. There's no man I can't handle." 2:00 in the morning. After the training room ended, the contestants returned to their rooms to rest. The dormitory was a two-person room. Wander and Xianxia were roommates. The cat bed next to the bed was empty. Xiangyu's gaze shifted to the bed. The little cat was lying in the middle of the bed with its head facing up, revealing its soft and round belly. It was snoring softly and sleeping soundly. Wander fanned the flames. Look, look! Xiao Naofu isn't obedient at all. Not only is it climbing the bed, but it's also snoring. It's too much." The next second, Xianxia shot him a sharp look and said in a low voice, "Keep your voice down. Don't disturb Fu's sleep." Wander. Chapter 258. It must be because the cat bed is too small. I'll sleep on the bed then. Xianxia walked towards his captain's bed and said, "I'll sleep in your bed tonight. You can go next door and squeeze with someone else." "Why?" "Because I don't like to sleep with others," he said coldly. Wander was speechless. Listen, is that even human language? Meanwhile, All Is Well Year Round posted a message on Weibo in the middle of the night, expressing her intention to commit suicide. All is well year round. You guys have no idea how rare it is for a person who has been in the dark for a long time to have a ray of light. Now that my world is shrouded in darkness again, perhaps it's time to end all this pain. When the netizens who were surfing late at night saw this, they quickly rushed to comfort her. "Sisters, don't let your imagination run wild. You're the cutest. Are you hungry? I'll order you some supper, okay? Are you suffering from depression? Oh my God, hurry up and see a doctor." All is well year round, replied a few of the comments, full of dejection. "I hate myself like this. Maybe she's the most suitable for him, but I'm still so worried about him. I'm worried that he'll have a hard time. I've doted on him for so long. I can't bear to see him suffer even a little." She posted a picture which showed the city Shui and Xianxia were going to. Due to the recent food festival, all the hotels were packed to the brim. After being incited by her, the fans immediately got angry again. They can't even book the plane tickets. Can that be *TCH book a hotel? The thought of Xianxia taking a 10-hour flight to a foreign country without even a hotel to stay in. Is he going to sleep on the floor at the airport? I also heard the news from Xianxia Entertainment. The Vase Fairy even took the initiative to ask to be Sui's assistant. Xianxia didn't reject her out of courtesy at that time. She wouldn't take advantage of Xiangyu's gentleness to hurt him so recklessly, would she? After a night, the netizens who woke up early habitually opened Weibo. The name All Is Well Year-Round was on the hot search list. So many people clicked on it. When they saw her post on Weibo and the strange imagination in the comments, everyone was dumbfounded. Xiaohua was an office worker and wasn't very interested in chasing after celebrities. After watching Two Under One Roof for 2 days, she had a good impression of Xiangyi and couldn't help but type frowny face, even if you can't book a hotel, you can still sleep on the plane. Aren't you guys thinking too much? Unexpectedly, the moment this comment was posted, it was called out by All As Well Year-Round. He deserves all the good in the world. You don't know anything. Smile. With just a few sentences, he successfully set the pace. Soon, Xiaohua was scolded by his fans. Hee, the vase fairy's whitewashing dog? Don't bother. She won't be able to clear her name. You can leave now. Why should our brothers suffer because of her? Who asked her to say that she wanted to be our brother's assistant? In the beginning, Little Blossom tried to reason with them, but he realized that these people wouldn't listen at all. After being scolded for a long time, Xiaohua was very depressed and felt that her good mood for the day had been ruined. She was really speechless about the behavior of All Is Well Year-Round that led to online violence. In the next second, she received a message from her best friend who was studying abroad. I'm shocked. I saw a private jet landing on the top floor of the Atlanta Hotel on my way to school. It's the super expensive 7-star hotel that I complained to you about last time. Poverty has really limited my imagination. Chapter 259. There were still a few more stops before the train arrived. Xiaohua and her best friend began chatting enthusiastically. Little Fafa, Little Fafa, the hotel where the cheapest room during off-season costs a few thousand yuan. All the rooms are 2-story suites, and the paintings on the walls are authentic. I love hot pot, yes. There are royal suites, presidential suites, and so on. It's just like the Mary Sue TV series we used to watch. There are butlers, chefs, and waiters. I love hot pot. Well, this plane even has rabbit ears. It looks so good. Sister, quickly become a rich woman and keep me. I want a pink plane too. I love hot pot. Picture's so cute. Xiaohua sighed. She swiped her finger to select an emoji pack. Suddenly, she thought of something and clicked on the picture sent by her best friend. She zoomed in, and the English letters on the plane came into view. Rabbit, tutu flight. Isn't that the private plane that Xiangyi and Shirindi took? Xiaohua! Exclamation point. She switched to her Weibo page and posted the picture in the comment section of All Is Well Year-Round. She then imitated the sarcastic tone with the caption, frowny face, no way. No way, right? Do you guys only know how to choose 4-star and 5-star hotels? Hee. Have you guys forgotten that there's the only 7-star hotel in the world in a city? The top floor of the hotel has its own helipad, a revolving restaurant in the sky, an underground ocean tunnel connected to a seafood restaurant, and a submarine to pick you up. This is how simple the life of a rich and beautiful girl is. Doghead. The caption was a picture of the tutu flight landing on the top floor of the hotel. After the comment was posted. 7-star hotel? What are you making up? Huh. F***CK. I checked. There really is such a hotel. A 6-figure presidential suite has just been booked. The fans were dumbfounded. Even All Is Well Year-Round pretended not to reply. We have arrived at North City West Station. Passengers, please take your belongings with you and exit from the left door. The announcement of the arrival of the train sounded, and Xiaohua got off the train feeling refreshed. It felt so good to be slapped in the face. She lowered her head and followed Xiangyi's Weibo, a happy smile on her face. Inside the suite, Xiangyi took a nap on the plane, so she wasn't very sleepy now. She took out her phone and reported to her family. Third brother replied instantly. I've already prepared the little dress you'll be using for the photo shoot. See you at the castle tomorrow. The castle was the filming location for the next day. Xianxia's studio was here. After flying over the night before, he was full of inspiration and rushed out 3 sets of dresses with a dozen assistants. The magazine was already giving him face. When they heard that he had designed 3 new sets, they were extremely excited. This was Hades's return to the fashion industry after a year of absence. Therefore, the magazine immediately decided to use Hades's work for the cover. Her fourth brother, Xianxia, quickly replied as well. In addition to reminding her, he also sent a 9-page grid of Xiao Naofu, as well as numerous short videos. Xianxia sighed as she watched Xiao Naofu eat until its belly was round and the fur on its head was flat. She wondered if Xiao Naofu would become as fat as a pig or go bald first in fourth brother's hands. Her second brother didn't reply, probably because he was busy. However, her little uncle gave her a video call. Little Xianxia, little Chun is also in a city. After you're done with the cover shoot, do you want to meet him? Chapter 260. She was now in the same city as Big Brother. Xianxia was a little dumbfounded. Little Chun has a sharp tongue. Xiangfeng paused for a moment before continuing. He has a sharp tongue and a heart like a meat grinder, but at least he has some dignity in front of you. Don't be afraid. Uncle will support you. Xianxia, Uncle, do you dare go with me? Xiangfeng, he didn't dare. Hello. The signal is not good. I'm hanging up. The video call ended. The little girl sighed and sat on the sofa in the living room, hugging her knees helplessly. Of course, she wanted to see Big Brother and resolve the misunderstanding with him, but she was afraid of him to begin with, and now she had no idea what that person was doing to Big Brother. The unknown was the most frightening. After all, Big Brother was a big devil who grew up beating his little brother's uncle. Not to mention other things, his fighting strength was really fierce. When she was bullied in kindergarten, she first complained to fourth brother, who then went to third brother, and then second brother. In the end, the four of them were bullied together. In short, it was an act of suicide. It was as tragic as it could be. In the end, it was Big Brother who descended from the sky and single-handedly destroyed the other party. Without a word, he coldly led his little brother and sister home. What are you thinking about? You keep sighing. The man's deep and magnetic voice sounded in her ear with an inexplicable flirtatious tone. Xianxia raised her head and looked at Shui with bright eyes. If there was only one person in the world who wasn't afraid of Big Brother, then wasn't it so far away, but so close? Xianxia looked up. Shui was calm and unruffled. Do you want to have a meal with Big Brother and catch up? I remember that you two are quite close. Shui let out a long, oh. You're afraid of Xianxia. What should I do? I'm a little scared too. Forget it then. But if you go with our sister I won't be afraid. Shui had a faint smile on her face, and her eyes were filled with gentleness. Xianxia jumped off the sofa in surprise. You're too nice. The corners of Shui's lips curled up when she saw how happy the little girl was. The two of them had lunch at a seafood restaurant under the sea. The glass separated the clear, blue sea water, surrounded by corals, and all kinds of sea creatures shuttled back and forth. It was romantic like a scene from a fairy tale. The dishes tasted good, especially the appetizer. Xianxia tasted a unique aroma. She murmured uncertainly, "Sea vision?" It was a kind of seaweed that she had seen in a world where medical science was very advanced. It couldn't be eaten directly, but it could be used as a spice after being processed. Most importantly, it had medicinal value. Therefore, when the head chef came out to communicate with the guests, Xianxia asked him what the unique aroma in the dish was. Hearing her calmly report the names of the ingredients and spices used, and even the cooking method, the head chef's eyes widened in shock. What kind of magical taste was this? She could actually know so much just by tasting it. However, an excellent head chef wasn't stingy with making the recipe public. As it turned out, a real top-notch restaurant couldn't imitate the same taste even if they strictly followed the recipe. Thank you for your generosity. Xianxia thanked him politely and immediately sent the name of the seaweed that the head chef mentioned to Lu Jingji. This might be a major discovery in the field of medicine. Chapter 261. After Xianxia sent the message, she realized that she had been neglecting Shui. His gaze was gentle and innocent, as if he wouldn't mind whatever she did. However, the more he acted this way, the more Xianxia blamed herself. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you, Shui chuckled. as if ripples had appeared on a calm lake. I think it's okay even if we don't talk when we're together, Sister E. On this point, Xianxia agreed with him. Xianxia sighed in her heart. Shui was really easy to get along with. He wasn't picky about food and had a good temper. The two of them could talk for a long time on the same topic, or they could do their own things without talking for a long time. However, they got along very naturally. There was no awkwardness at all. Shall we go back to the hotel? I saw that you didn't sleep much on the plane. Do you want to catch up on some sleep? Shui nodded slightly. Xianxia got up and took 2 steps forward. Suddenly, Shui stopped her. Sister E, wait a minute. The girl looked back. Her hair brushed past his chin, causing a feather-like itch. Can we take a picture together? Shui asked. Okay, then I'll stand a little further away. This way, I can help your legs grow longer. Shui couldn't help but laugh. He seemed a little helpless. He bent his fingers and pushed his gold-rimmed glasses up his nose. Let's take a picture together. Huh? Oh. Xianxia handed the phone to the shop assistant and stood beside him. The enthusiastic shop assistant said in English, Closer. You can come closer. Xianxia was still hesitating. Shui naturally put his arm around her shoulders and pulled her closer to him. The girl bumped into his arms, looking a little helpless. However, the shop assistant had already pressed the button to take a picture. Gotcha. He took a few pictures and returned the phone to Xianxia. The two of them were so good-looking that they looked good. Send it to you? Yes. Xianxia opened Shui's WeChat and saw the word Zai appear in front of Shui. Xianxia. Public execution was the most merciless. I'll change it right now. Xianxia pretended to be calm and typed an opinion of Shui. The first word that popped up was Shui. She was about to delete it when she heard Shui say, Let's do this. But aren't only your girlfriends and wife fans the only ones who call you that? Shui's eyes flickered slightly. Her expression was lazy. She drawled, Is that so? I thought you called him that to make him look younger. This logic didn't seem to be wrong, either. Do men also care about their age? Thinking of this, Xianxia suddenly understood. Shui is having a midlife crisis? In order to take care of his sensitive feelings, Xianxia set his nickname to Shui and even comforted him. You're very young to begin with. She lowered her head and did not notice that the man's eyes were filled with a triumphant smile. When they returned to the hotel, the magazine sent a staff member to pick them up. The creative director briefly talked to them about the proposal for the next day's shoot, The Princess and the Vampire. For this proposal, we want to create a vintage and luxurious vibe. The makeup will also be more gorgeous. The set is set in a Viscount's castle, which has hundreds of years of history. Before he finished speaking, the creative director's cell phone rang. He apologized and answered the call. More than 10 seconds later, his face suddenly changed. What? The director of the castle doesn't allow us to shoot? Chapter 262. No one knew what the person on the other end of the phone said, but the creative director's face became more and more sullen. After hanging up the phone, he squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying at Shui and Xianxia. I'm afraid we have to change our shooting plan. Xianxia asked, Did something happen? The creative director sighed and said, Actually, we are not in charge of contacting the owner of the castle directly. We are renting it through an intermediary. Just now, the intermediary said that the Viscount tasted a few Chinese dishes at the recent food festival. Because he found them too disgusting, he posted more than a dozen posts on his social media account, all of which were dissing Chinese cuisine. He heard that the castle was rented to Chinese people for the shoot, so Xianxi's expression was perplexed. Even in the fast-forward world, Westerners' acceptance of Chinese cuisine was still very high. She asked curiously, what food did he eat? The creative director searched for the Viscount's social media account and showed it to Xianxia. Xianxia glanced at a few posts, raised her eyebrows, and said to Shui, It seems that the Viscount is a gourmet. All the posts were related to food. The pictures were beautiful and the writing was good. When it came to delicious food, he would praise it to the heavens. He would use exaggerated rhetoric such as God-given delicacies, God-kissed hands, and the gift of nature. He was a master of flattery. When it came to disgusting food, he would directly criticize it, such as, It tastes as bad as smelly socks on a rainy day. It's so disgusting that the best dish today was lemonade. If he taught huskies how to cook, they would definitely be able to cook better than you," and other sarcastic remarks. It was precisely because he was not short of money that he could ensure absolute fairness. Moreover, he was a glutton with tricky tastes, so he had countless fans and was famous for being a gourmet. Many restaurants had a love-hate relationship with him. They loved that his casual praise could bring them great popularity, but they were also afraid that his criticism would cause the restaurant's business to plummet. Xianxia scrolled to the comments he had made before, and her beautiful eyebrows furrowed. "These are at most improved dishes, right?" Sure Sui said. "It seems a little like dark cuisine." It was more than that. It was like the devil's cuisine. There were all kinds of strange and nondescript combinations. It was comparable to Chinese canteen dishes such as fried meat with orange and lime and fried chili with 5-kernel mooncakes. The creative director was like a frosted eggplant, listless and devoid of any fighting spirit. Suddenly, he heard Xianxia ask in a gentle voice, "Can you contact this Viscount? I think we could try harder." The creative director smiled bitterly and said, "This is not something that can be achieved with hard work alone. Lord Viscount has an eccentric personality. Apart from top-notch delicacies, nothing else will work on him." Xianxia said seriously, "I want to treat him to a taste of real Chinese cuisine." The creative director hesitated for a moment and asked, "Do you know any Michelin chefs? Then there might still be a chance." Xianxia shook her head. "Although I don't know any Michelin chefs, I know a little about cooking." The creative director was greatly disappointed, but he didn't want to discourage this lovely Asian beauty. He could only fake a smile and say, "I could try to contact them." Sure Sui found a clip of Two Under One Roof, which was a video of Xianxia cooking and the delicious food at the end. Out of courtesy, the creative director clicked play. 5 minutes later, the creative director exclaimed, "Oh my God, it's so exciting. Watch it again. Let me watch it again." Chapter 263. After watching the video a few times, the creative director was completely stunned. He looked at Xianxia with a blazing light in his eyes. If he used to look at Xianxia with admiration for beautiful things, then now, he was in awe. He was in awe. Even though he had never tasted the food she made, the process of cooking and the way she presented the food was simply a work of art. Languages and cultures might not be the same. However, human beings had a common pursuit of beauty. In other words, Xianxia had not conquered him with the taste of the food, but with the appearance of the food. Xianxia said, "I'll leave it to you to contact the Viscount then." The creative director patted his chest and said, "No problem, leave it to me." Even though he was the creative director of a top international magazine publisher, it still took him a lot of effort to get the Viscount's contact information. The creative director originally wanted to cut the 5-minute video a little shorter so that the Viscount could appreciate it more directly. However, no matter how he looked at it, be it frying, stewing, or roasting, using flower petals, sesame seeds, or even carving as decoration, every frame was incredibly beautiful. He gritted his teeth and decided not to cut it for even a second. He first exchanged a long, polite conversation with the Viscount before sending the video over and anxiously waiting for a reply. At a certain 2-star Michelin restaurant, the standards of a Michelin restaurant were divided into 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star. This restaurant was a 2-star restaurant last year, and business was booming. Although the head chef had fallen ill recently, and the sous chef had replaced him, some customers were dissatisfied. However, no one had expected the Viscount to come for a meal. The boss panicked and ordered the head chef to provide the best and freshest ingredients while he hurried to the wine cellar to get a bottle of good red wine. The appetizers, main dishes. The more the Viscount ate, the more sullen his face became. When the last dessert was served, he only took a small sip with a spoon and did not touch it again. The head chef hurriedly came out, trembling with fear. "What do you think of today's dishes?" The Viscount sharply commented. They blindly pursued expensive ingredients and gorgeous presentation. Even the desserts were sprinkled with edible gold foil, but the taste was terrible. The combination of red wine and the dish are incompatible, unable to blend together. Instead, it adds to the astringent taste of the dish. A 2-star Michelin restaurant is a restaurant that is worth taking a long detour to visit. The chef's culinary skills are excellent, but in my opinion, it's not even as good as a hamburger from a roadside stall. The head chef was so ashamed that he couldn't raise his head. When he saw the Viscount take out his phone, the nearby shop owner almost fainted. It's over, it's over. The restaurant is over. Who would have thought that? The Lord Viscount seemed to have opened a video and stared at it for a few seconds with a lack of interest. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he became engrossed in the video. 5 minutes was undoubtedly a trial for the head chef and the boss. The corners of the Viscount's mouth curled up as he hurriedly got up and left. After waiting for a while, he didn't see the Viscount give their restaurant a bad review on social media. Woo woo woo, our restaurant is saved. The boss cried tears of joy. He finally realized that, for a restaurant, taste was the most important thing. Let's close the shop first. We'll reopen after our head chef recovers. On the other side, what? Livestream cooking? Chapter 264. Xianxia was a little surprised. Yes, this is a request made by the Viscount. He wants to see the process of cooking the delicacies and... The creative director stammered, unable to continue for a long time. Xianxia asked, "What's the matter? Does he have any other requests?" "He wants you to have 1 million viewers in the Moon livestream." The creative director felt that the request was too unreasonable. The Moon livestream was a software from France, and most of the viewers were locals. The livestream industry in France was not very developed, and 1 million viewers was really an astronomical figure. If it were a local celebrity, they might be able to achieve it. However, Xianxia and Shui were not very popular overseas. How could they possibly achieve it? The Viscount is obviously making things difficult for us. He's not just eccentric, he's perverted. Shui raised her eyebrows and asked, 1 million? The creative director said, with a sullen expression, yes. Why don't we change to another venue? There's a winery that's not bad, but the filming plan may have to be rejected. Xianxia and Shui looked at each other, smilingly, while Shui seemed to be deep in thought. Are you sure it's just 1 million? Don't you have any other requests? This is already an impossible task. If there are any other requests, the Viscount won't be human. To his surprise, Xianxia nodded calmly and said, "That's good." Actually, 1 million was a difficult task for anyone. Xianxia felt that she couldn't do it alone because she didn't seem to have many fans. However, she had Shui who had his own fans. You should be considered a cheat, right? Shui said, "Please help us prepare the equipment for the live stream." The creative director sighed and said, okay. These 2 pitiful Asian beauties are probably going to suffer a huge blow. The live stream began. The creative director used his connections and asked a few of his friends to help forward the live stream so that the number of viewers in the live stream would not be 0. The current number of viewers in the Moon live stream was 579. This number might not be considered much in China, but it was considered a good figure in France. He did not forget to send the link to the live stream to the Viscount. 10 seconds later, a notification popped up on the phone. It was the Viscount who had sent a link to the live broadcast room using his account. Not long after, the number of viewers jumped to 3,804. Creative Variety show called it unbelievable. Lord Viscount was indeed a famous gourmet. This rallying power was truly amazing. Shui, I'll post something on Weibo. Xianxia, then I'll forward it. Typing is too troublesome. Although the creative director did not understand what the 2 of them were talking about, he smiled bitterly when he saw the pitiful Shui fiddling with her cell phone, followed by the pitiful Xianxia. He had heard that Chinese celebrities had a lot of fans, but he did not know how many fans these 2 could attract. 10,000? Or at most 20,000. The creative director closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was stunned. The number of viewers had actually become 205,864. Creative director? Was he seeing things? Or was he hallucinating? How could it have doubled to 200,000 in the blink of an eye? It took him half a minute to confirm that there were really 200,000 viewers. However, why didn't the number change at all? In the next second, the numbers that had been stuck for a long time were refreshed. The long string of numbers blinded the creative director. Current number of viewers, 597-6531. Chapter 265. More than 5 million viewers? Almost 6 million? How was this possible? One had to know that Country F's Top Awards banquet only had about 10 million viewers. However, these two Asian beauties managed to reach 6 million viewers in just a few minutes. It's fake. It must be fake, the creative director was worried. Did these two people hire hackers to change the number of viewers in the live stream to please the Viscount? This kind of clumsy technique will definitely be discovered. The phone screen suddenly turned black and the live stream software retreated. The creative director froze for a moment and felt guilty. Could it be that we've been discovered? Is that why Moon banned our live stream? He opened the chat box with the Viscount and tried to salvage the situation. Before he could think of a way to redeem himself, the Viscount calmly sent him a message. Moon livestream is arranging for programmers to repair it. The creative director was dumbfounded. Repair it? Repair what? Not long after, Moon livestream released an official statement, which solved the creative director's confusion. Moon livestream. Due to the excessive amount of new traffic, the app is unable to host. It is currently under repair. All users can use the web version for the time being. We apologize for the inconvenience. The creative director was speechless. He looked a little dazed. So the data isn't fake? When he came back to his senses, he was speechless. The way he looked at Xianxia and Xianxia suddenly changed. Did these two people use a cheating device? They just casually start a live stream, and they have so many fans. Unbeknownst to them, Xianxia was indeed extremely popular, and Li Jianyu and Xiangfeng had also added fuel to the fire. When Li Jianyu reposted Xianxia and Xiangyi's posts on the official Weibo account of Two Under One Roof, the fans of his show flooded in. Xiangfeng was even more direct. Xianxia Livestream had a strategic partnership with Moon Livestream, and, as her uncle, how could he not support his niece? Hence, not only did Xianxia Livestream repost the post, but they also provided a link on their official Weibo account, which allowed them to jump directly to Moon Livestream's webpage. With the combined efforts of several parties, the traffic generated directly crashed Moon Livestream's app. Fortunately, the webpage was still passable, but it was a little laggy. The presidential suite was fully equipped. Xianxia lowered her head to prepare the ingredients on the clean and spacious countertop. Xianxia helped her with some simple tasks and chatted with her. She could be called the most dedicated streamer. Good afternoon. The man's smile was gentle and gentlemanly as he interacted with the audience in both languages. The comments in the live stream were flooding in quickly. Ah, Big Brother is so dedicated. You didn't forget to do live broadcasts even when you're overseas. Did you get the resources for the Moon live stream? Our brother Xianxia is really good at it. She's a superstar wherever she goes. Sister, you must have had a hard time descending to the mortal world today. She looks like a fairy in a floral dress. Whoa. Is this knife technique real? Awesome, awesome. Sister E, come to our hotel's kitchen and cut some dumplings. Ha ha ha. Are you serious about asking Sister E to cut chunks? There are also some curious comments from foreign netizens. Are they going to make Chinese cuisine? Oh, I hate Chinese food the most. It's very greasy and weird. I don't think any human would like it. Are they husband and wife? The two of them work very well together. They seem to be very loving. Under everyone's gazes, the beautiful girl calmly put the ingredients into the pot. The first dish, stir-fried spicy chicken. Chapter 266. After the oil was heated up, she added dried chili, pepper, scallion, ginger, and other ingredients to stir-fry. The seasonings were prepared by Xianxia in China. She originally wanted to cook for Wuxia, but she didn't expect it to come in handy now. Chili was a seed cultivated by Little Rabbit Farm and the Agricultural Science Institute. Not only was it spicy, it was also very fragrant and was the best ingredient for stir-frying chili oil. The chicken had been prepared beforehand. It was cut into small pieces, sprinkled with starch and cooking wine to enhance the aroma, and added to the hot chili oil for stir-frying. Xianxia simply tossed the ladle twice, but it attracted the amazement of the netizens watching the live stream. Is this Eastern cooking? Cool. Jesus. Her slender body, actually has so much strength? Oh, I feel like she has magic. Is this Eastern witchcraft? Why is my mouth salivating? Finally, she added dried chili, soy sauce, and sugar and stir-fried the chicken until it was fully cooked. The Viscount arrived at the hotel. Every time a dish was prepared, someone would deliver it to his table as quickly as possible. The second dish was Westlake fish in vinegar gravy. Since there was no grass carp, Xianxia used a codfish that weighed about a caddy and a half. Westlake fish in vinegar gravy had extremely strict fire control requirements, and even professional chefs would fail sometimes. However, Xianxi's expression was very calm, and it only took her a few minutes to cook the fish just right. The essence of this dish was the sweet and sour sauce, which was made with fish soup, white sugar, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and starch. It was then slowly poured over the fish and sprinkled with ginger for decoration. The third dish was Wuxia tofu. Shredded shiitake mushrooms, winter bamboo shoots, and shredded ham were stewed in chicken soup. After boiling, the tofu that had been cut into fine shreds was added. It was a great test of knife skills. The fifth dish, Xianxia, was extremely fast at cooking, and she was able to prepare the best 2 or 3 dishes at the same time. The netizens were shocked at first, but later on, they went crazy. I'm so hungry, Sister E, stop. I've already gained a few pounds. Why did Xianxia cook so many dishes today? The child in front of the screen is about to cry. Today's live stream smells so good. It's so good. Sister Yi's cooking skills are amazing. Before watching the live stream, I'm not eating, I'm not hungry, I'm on a diet, I have no desire for food. After watching the live stream, F***, I'll open the dirty little software now. I've already made a bowl of instant noodles. The earlier you eat, the earlier you enjoy, got it? As for the overseas netizens, they were deeply shocked by the Oriental cuisine. It turned out that there were so many cooking methods. It turned out that ingredients could be used in such a way. It turned out that Oriental cuisine was so elegant and exquisite. Why does every dish look so delicious? Mysterious Oriental girl. Amazing Oriental cuisine. Did I eat fake Chinese cuisine before? It's completely different from what little elves do. Honey, are you willing to make me a dish? I'm willing to give up everything. When the girl lifted the lid of the last dish, steam rose from the casserole as a classic Chinese dish was simmering in the casserole. Buddha jumps over the wall. Abalone, sea cucumber, pork tendons, scallops, cuttlefish, and other sumptuous ingredients were gathered in a pot and simmered with stock and aged wine. The soup base was moist and thick, but not greasy. The ingredients were soft, tender, and warm. Through the screen, the rich aroma seemed to be wafting towards them and going straight to their hearts. Gulp. At this moment, regardless of country or region, countless faces in front of the screen stared at the screen with their eyes wide open. Chapter 267. The Buddha jumps over the wall was served to the Viscount. At this moment, the number of viewers in the live stream had reached an astonishing 9 million. Okay, that's all for today's dishes. Xianxia was about to take off her apron when she realized that the creative director and the staff were almost drooling. There was no other reason. It smelled so good. It smelled so good. Unlike the netizens who were watching the live stream, they had been overwhelmed by the visual and aroma of the dishes from beginning to end. What was crueler than seeing something but not being able to eat? It was seeing and smelling it but not being able to eat it. Xianxia understood and said, "Wait a minute. I'll make something for everyone to eat." There were plenty of ingredients, and Xianxia worked quickly. In the blink of an eye, she had already prepared several dishes and handmade noodles. After cooking them, she topped them with braised beef and vegetables. It was a simple yet appetizing meal. In the live stream, Master X's braised beef noodles. Come out and take a beating. Look at how much meat is in Sister Yi's bowl. I want to eat the main dish just now, and now I want to eat the home-cooked dishes too. She's indeed the god of cookery. Oh my god, I think I've really been bewitched. I've already eaten 2 hamburgers, 3 pieces of cheese, and a plate of macaroni, but I still feel hungry. By the way, there's also this. Xianxia took out the milk pudding that she had prepared beforehand from the fridge. After refrigeration, It had solidified, and the pale yellow pudding was sparkling with a thin layer of caramel. She cut some strawberries and mangoes to decorate it and handed them to Xianxia with a smile. Here, this is the half-sugar version. It's not very sweet. You can have two. Xianxia's thin lips curled up slightly, and he stared at her with his deep eyes. He said in a drawl, "Thank you for your hard work, sister." The live stream came to an abrupt end, but the fans who stayed in the live stream were exhilarated. Sweets. They're giving out sweets. I'm on the verge of death. It's so untimely and sweet. She remembers his taste. He only has eyes for her. I can't take it anymore. Medic, come and save me. Give me an injection of insulin. The foreign netizens who were unfamiliar with the couple accidentally misunderstood. Wow, what a blissful couple. Xianxia distributed the rest of the pudding. After taking 2 bites, the creative director noticed that there was no more pudding left. He said apologetically, "Alice, didn't you save one for yourself?" Alice was Xianxia's English name. Xianxia said, "It's okay. I can make more if I want." The creative director gritted his teeth and made up his mind. Enduring the pain, he said, "In that case, I can share side with you. I haven't eaten anything here yet. I have more here." Xianxia turned around and saw Xianxia handing her a pudding and holding another one in her hand. Xianxia was curious. Why aren't you eating? Have you lost your appetite?" Xianxia said slowly, "I'll wait for you to eat together." Oh, as a chef, she was often the last to eat. The feeling of someone waiting for him, and it was pretty good. The little girl lowered her eyes, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. In the presidential suite next door, time turned back. Viscount Albert Howard was enjoying the live stream that was projected on the wall while chatting with his good friend opposite him. "Chun, is this your sister?" The man opposite him was dressed in a tailored black suit with his hair combed back. The moment they saw the outline of his face, the clamor of the mortal world instantly fell silent. It was as if snow had silently fallen from a distant mountain. Chapter 268. The man's facial features were handsome and deep-set, and his eyes were pure black. He exuded a sharp and ascetic aura. He glanced at the screen and said in an indifferent voice, "Yes." Gossiping was human nature, and Viscount Albert was no exception. She seems to have changed a lot compared to last year. It was as if she had become a different person. Viscount Albert had met Xianxia once last year. At that time, Xianxia had asked for help from his connections and visited the most famous psychiatrist and neurologist in Country F. At that time, Albert's impression of Xianxia was quite bad. She's a vain, arrogant, and rude, silly girl. However, it seemed that she was doing quite well today. After watching the edited video of 2 Under One Roof, he originally wanted to make things difficult for her, but he did not expect her to easily achieve the condition of 1 million viewers. "I just don't know how the dishes taste." While they were talking, the first dish was served. Chili. Albert frowned. He was used to having refreshing food as an appetizer, so when he saw the spicy chicken filled with red-dried chili, he instinctively felt a little conflicted. But what kind of chili is this? Why does it have such an intoxicating fragrance? Yes, Albert loved spicy food, and he had tasted many restaurants famous for their spicy dishes on his social media app. This plate of stir-fried spicy chicken was golden yellow in color, and with the addition of red chili and white sesame seeds as embellishments, the spicy and fragrant aroma went straight to his nose. Albert couldn't help but take the lead and put a piece of chicken into his mouth with his fork. "This," he gasped. "It's so spicy." However, it wasn't just spicy. On the contrary, the texture was very rich. Spicy, numb, fragrant, salty, sweet. The layers of flavors bloomed on the tip of his tongue, bringing about a slight tingling sensation. Spiciness was not a type of taste, but a pain sensation transmitted through neurotransmitters by capsaicin. However, it was deeply fascinating. This dish might not be the perfect appetizer in Western cuisine. However, to Albert, it was perfect. Before he could marvel, the second dish was served. Westlake fish in vinegar. The smooth and crystal-clear sweet and sour sauce was poured over the entire fish. A few cuts were made on the fish, and the fins stood up like petals. Not only was it beautiful, but it also made it easier for the fish to taste better. The fish meat was smooth and tender, and it was both sweet and sour. The slightly thick sauce neutralized the spiciness of the previous dish, and the sweetness stimulated the body to secrete dopamine. Albert felt his mood instantly brighten. Incredible! Has she been practicing cooking since she was young? Xianxia tasted it and said coldly, "It's just so." She was so heartless. She had been back for so long, but she didn't even send him a message. Instead, she kept calling him Big Brother and coaxing the other brats. Huh. Albert was confused. Everyone said that he had a picky taste, but he felt that Chin's tongue was the pickiest in the world. Following that was Wincy tofu, which was as thin as a strand of hair. It was a combination of bean products, winter bamboo shoots, shiitake mushrooms, ham, and other ingredients. It was so fresh that one couldn't stop eating after one bite. After that, there was the translucent red dompa meat that was soft but not mushy, the light and refreshing assorted vegetables, the roasted pigeon that exuded a tempting amount of oil, the fragrant and tender dinghu vegetables. Every single dish was exquisite and delicious. When the last dish, Buddha Jumps Over the Wall, was served, Albert was so excited that his voice trembled. The standard of a Michelin 3-star restaurant is not only superb culinary skills, but it also has to have a selection of excellent wine to accompany the meal, flawless service, and an extremely elegant dining environment. However, real delicacies don't need anything. It just needs to be delicious. Chapter 269. The live stream of Xianxia and Shui, which lasted for more than 2 hours, went viral on social media in France. All the celebrities reposted it with all sorts of recommendations, such as cuisine from the mysterious East and you can finish 10 hamburgers in 5 minutes. Those comments were forwarded to Weibo in China, which immediately caused a heated discussion. Damn, Shui impressive. She's trending overseas. Come on, what does Xianxia have to do with it? They're all fans of Shui, aren't they? What did Shui do? Didn't they just interact with each other for a while? Are you guys blind? Disgusting, vase fairy, please stop sucking our brother's blood. Doesn't your conscience hurt at all? Hee, of course it doesn't hurt, because she doesn't have a heart. I'm so confused. Do you really think Sister E doesn't have any fans? I'm sorry, I'm just targeting Sister E. I'm dying of laughter. They keep saying that Xianxia is just a vase, but I think Shui is the biggest vase. The CP fans are shivering. Why are they tearing each other apart? In fact, Shui's fans and Xianxia's fans had long disliked each other. However, Xianxia's fans had always been relatively small in number. However, with the accumulation of popularity of two under one roof, the number of Xianxia's fans had begun to take shape. Besides, Sister Shui's fans, led by All Is Well year-round, had been instigating the fans to tear Xianxia apart. Over time, Xianxia's fans had accumulated a lot of resentment. This incident was the fuse that completely ignited the conflict between the two groups. Xianxia's fans held their breaths and began tearing each other apart. They were not weak at all. After a few rounds of tearing each other apart, they were still standing firm, which was quite surprising. In the presidential suite, unlike Viscount Albert's fanaticism, Xianxia only tasted a mouthful of all the dishes. His chiseled face was cold. He lowered his head to look at his wristwatch and said calmly, "I have an appointment with someone. I'll make a move first." Albert's cheeks were bulging as he looked at Chen Jin in disbelief. "Chen, how did you do it? How did you have such a strong immunity to these delicacies? Don't you think it's delicious?" Things like immunity, of course, she would get it after eating it a few more times. However, Xianxia was too lazy to explain. His next business partner was very important. If Albert had not recognized Xianxia in the video and insisted on having a taste with him, he would not have wasted his precious time. "Nothing can stop me from going to work," Xianxia said coldly. "As a loafer, cough, no, a viscount who inherited his family's honor and title." Albert felt offended. Sigh. Chen was good at everything, but he had no interest in life at all. Perhaps there was nothing in this world that he cared about apart from work. Chen Jin was tall and slender, and his shoulders made his suit look even straighter. His well-ironed black trousers wrapped around his long legs as he strode out of the suite. Buzz! His phone vibrated. He picked it up impatiently and glanced at it, only to see that there was a message notification on the screen. Little bunny, can I treat you to a meal? Little bunny, my location. Xianxia stopped his tracks. From his sleeves to his collar, he was meticulous and neat. He replied unhurriedly, I'm not free. Huh. She didn't even call him brother. She's really grown up. Chapter 270. Next door. Xianxia hesitated for a long time. She went from selecting emojis to typing and sending them out. After that, she hid her phone in the corner of the sofa and covered it with a pillow. Then, she ran to the side and tugged at the corner of her clothes. Shui was amused by her behavior and teased, Sister E, what are you doing? Xianxia said calmly, nothing, just exercising. It was as if she wasn't the one who was tugging at the corner of her clothes. Shui said, your phone is vibrating. Really? Xianxia walked to the side of the sofa and stopped. She carefully and hesitantly lifted the corner of the pillow. When she saw the notification on the screen that read, you have received a message from Big Brother, her heart suddenly tightened and thumped wildly. She swore that she had never been so nervous before. You don't dare to read it? Shui said with a half-smile. How about I help you read it? Xianxia asked. How much do you charge? I'll pay you on credit. The girl hesitated. Shui picked up her phone and said, why don't you read it yourself? Xianxia took a few steps back and said, I promise. A certain black-bellied actor who had succeeded in getting his way narrowed his eyes and glanced at the message in the chat box. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly. TSK, another arrogant guy. What did he say? Xianxia asked nervously. He said he's busy. I see. For some reason, she didn't dare to read the message. However, with Shui reading it out for her, she didn't feel so scared anymore. Unexpectedly, Shui changed the topic and said lazily. However, he said that he's short of in-flight meals on the way back to China. Xianxia was speechless. The girl's eyes lit up. I can cook. Help me reply to him. Reading messages is one type of fee. Replying to messages is another type of fee. Xianxia, are you sure you want to upgrade the service? His upturned, peach blossom eyes were smiling as he stared at the nervous girl. Xianxia nodded and said, yes, I can. The next second, Shui pressed down on the voice message. The sleeves of her sweater slid down, revealing a clear section of her wrist bones. Light blue veins protruded from her skin, making her look both aesthetic and sexy. Big brother, I will tell Sister E. Good luck with your work. Xianxia blinked her long eyelashes, vaguely feeling that something was not quite right. She hesitated for a moment before asking softly, why are you calling him brother? You're even more familiar with it than me. Shui said innocently. Xianxia is a few months older than me. Isn't it natural for me to call him brother? What he said made sense. In China, just as the Shui sisters and Xianxi's fans were tearing into each other, a famous food critic posted on Weibo, Yijiyushi, Yao. Recently, I've been following the trend and learning some of the words you young people use. I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but I'll just take it as a joke. First of all, I'll let you know that I'm an uncle fan of the god of cookery at Xianxia. I wanted to use Uncle Fan, but it sounded like I was scolding her, so I gave up. I haven't watched all the live streams of Two Under One Roof, but I've watched every meal that Xianxia cooks. Everyone probably cares more about her face and her interactions with other men. But what I want to say is that her culinary skills have been greatly underestimated. This series of dishes that she cooks can completely represent the top level of Chinese cuisine. If one were to use a short comment to describe the live stream overseas this time, it would be frowny face going to the startling feast of a human realm to see the beauty of delicious food. Chapter 271. This reviewer's writing style was beautiful, and he was especially good at praising others. He had accumulated a lot of fans. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, Xianxi's fans were elated. They liked it, shared it, and commented on it, increasing its popularity. Most of the Shui sisters were still very rational, but a small number of extreme girlfriend and wife fans began to diss her in a sarcastic manner. Reported, hee, I'll send you on your way. This is hilarious. Why would anyone believe such an obvious advertisement? How much money did you take from the vase fairy to be her bootlicker? Make a group of ghostwriters. We can all earn money together. What's the matter? Don't you have anything else to brag about? Come brag about your cooking skills. What's so great about being able to cook? I really don't know what's there to brag about. Eating and drinking probably didn't expect to be attacked as he typed a few question marks in the comment section. The onlookers immediately stepped in. Yo, 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 he's anxious. He's anxious. Dumb people have dumb luck, but dumb people don't. Is there really someone who's a fan of the vase fairy? No way, no way. Just as eating and drinking's Weibo comment section was about to collapse, a certain online celebrity chef reposted his Weibo post frowny face, you eat kai with choi kai v. From the perspective of a chef, I really admire this little girl. The first dish, stir-fried spicy chicken, was a classic Sichuan dish. The balance of spiciness and fragrance was a big problem. The second dish, Westlake fish and vinegar, was another hurdle to control the heat. The third dish, Wincy tofu, was a test of knife skills that could dissuade countless amateur chefs. It could be said that every dish displayed at least one kind of top-notch cooking difficulty. Just the most common cooking method of stir-frying, just the tossing of the ladle, the control of the heat, and the seasoning were enough for a normal chef to ponder over for several years. Not to mention the aesthetics of the plate, the combination of ingredients, the innovation of the recipe, and so on. The layman enjoyed the show, while the expert appreciated the skill. This little girl's cooking skills were not only top-notch, but among her peers, she was the highest ceiling that could be reached. Xianxia's fans. Well said, well said. Plus drumsticks. Xianxia's sisters. Why is there another whitewashing? How annoying. Until the official Weibo account of Wuxia Gourmet Weekly posted a highly rated post. Wuxia Gourmet Annual Magazine V. He is skillful and ingenious, presenting the Wuxia cuisine of frying, cooking, braising, stewing, and roasting. He is young and promising, promoting the traditional Wuxia cuisine culture. He is neither servile nor overbearing, showing an elegant demeanor that is as tranquil as water. Alike for our god of cooking, Xianxia V. At first, there were people who mocked him. What the hell are you talking about? It's bullsh***. Official blogger, are you embarrassed? I feel embarrassed for you. You only have so few fans, yet you're willing to accept a whitewashing draft to make money. However, these people were soon slapped in the face. Wake up, this annual is more awesome than the Michelin Guide. Bullsh***. Do you know that this is the most authoritative food vein in our country? Let's put it this way. This is a magazine that is only published once a year. The restaurants and chefs selected on it symbolize the official recognition of the China Chefs Association. In an instant, the Xianxia sisters were dumbfounded. Is the vase fairy really that impressive? Xianxia's fans, on the other hand, were elated and exhilarated. Our sister E is so capable. My son is so outstanding. I can't help it. Some Xianxia sisters, please have some self-respect. Just a second ago, you ignored Xianxia, but now, Xianxia is out of your league. Chapter 272. With the official stamp of approval, the Xianxia sisters couldn't criticize her even if they wanted to. Instead, they were ridiculed by passers-by. Some fans were jumping up and down in anger, while others suddenly came to their senses. Ah, why are there so many people praising the vase fairy? Come to think of it, it seemed that probably this woman was quite outstanding. Many people turned from anti-fans to fans, and some even turned from anti-fans to fans of the couple on the spot. Country F? That's great. Viscount Albert has agreed to let us use the castle for the shoot. The creative director screamed excitedly. Xianxia smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work." Xianxia said gently, "I'm counting on you for tomorrow's shoot." Okay, I'll make the arrangements right away." The creative director left happily. Xianxia's phone kept vibrating. He took it out and saw that it was another unknown number. He frowned and hung up the call. It seemed that the phone number had been leaked. He had no choice but to turn off his phone for the time being. In China, all is well year-round had changed more than 10 numbers, sending and calling Xianxia frantically, but he didn't reply to any of them. Why wouldn't he reply to her? She liked him so much that she had spent a lot of money just to get his phone number. The woman's eyes were full of morbid paranoia. She changed the servant's phone and called him again. However, a sweet robotic female voice sounded from the other end of the phone. "Hello, the subscriber you have dialed has turned off his phone." Turn off his phone? How could he turn off his phone? All as well year-round grabbed her hair and screamed in agony. The next day, it often rained in the city, but today was a rare day of sunny weather. An ancient and majestic building stood halfway up the mountain. The extravagant and gorgeous glass, inlaid windows, and sculptures reflected mottled light and shadow. Shui got out of the car first and opened the door for Xianxia like a gentleman. He was chatting with Xianxia in a low voice when he was suddenly interrupted by a voice. "Hey, stay away from my sister." Xianxia looked up in surprise and met the eyes of her third brother, Xianxia, who was not far away. "Brother?" Xianxia was dressed so fashionably that even supermodels would be ashamed of their inferiority. He walked toward Xianxia and pulled Xianxia behind him. He stared at Shui warily and said, "You're not allowed to talk to my sister." Shui blinked and looked at Xianxia innocently and pitifully. He lowered his eyes and said to Xianxia, "Okay, I got it." The moment a handsome, tall, and upright mature man showed a slight weakness. The lethality it brought was many times greater than that of a little puppy. Who could withstand this? As expected, Xianxia wavered. "Brother, you should be more polite to Shui." Before Xianxia could answer, Shui chuckled bitterly. "It's okay. I'm used to it." Xianxia. What the hell? Wasn't this person very arrogant before? He's not a good person. Xianxia was going crazy. Have you forgotten that he used to practice with Big Brother and bully us? Xianxia was confused. Oh, did he? Xianxia suddenly realized that the two demons would occasionally bully his second brother, Xiangli, and him and Xiangyu. They would often bully his little uncle, Xiangyu. However, they had never bullied Xianxia. Suddenly, Shui tugged at Xiangyi's sleeve and complained in a low voice. "Sister E, he said bad things about me. Xianxia, why do you have two faces?" Chapter 273. However, Xianxia felt that his sister wouldn't fall into such a simple trap. His gaze towards Shui was full of provocation. "Ha, naive. Do you think my sister will believe you?" Unexpectedly, "Brother, Shui is a very nice person. You should get along well with him, okay?" The girl looked up at him with clear and calm eyes, and her tone was quite sincere. Xianxia was speechless. "Can't you tell that he's pretending?" Xianxia was going crazy and pushed Shui. "If you don't believe me, you can see when he was young, he had provoked Shui and was beaten to the point where he had to climb up a tree to escape, crying his eyes out. However, this time, Shui stumbled and staggered backward before barely regaining his balance. He pursed his thin lips and looked even more aggrieved. "Sister, he even pushed me." "Brother." The girl looked fierce. "How could you do that?" Xianxia was speechless. "Didn't I just King push you a little bit? Do you have to be so weak?" Shui blinked with an innocent look on his face. Xianxia was so angry that he lost the ability to organize his words. You. The men's makeup and hair were done quickly, so they filmed Shui's solo scenes first. Xianxia was in the dressing room when she vaguely heard screams coming from outside. Xianxia, who was holding a needle and thread and making the final edits to his sister's dress, sneered. "He's a womanizer who attracts bees and butterflies. He's not a decent man." Xianxia said, "Brother, you're biased against Shui." Xianxia glared at her. "Aren't you the one who thinks he's born with a seductive face? I think he's the reincarnation of a male vixen." In short, in the eyes of Xianxia, the current Shui could be equated with a dogman. "He's not a vixen." Xianxia defended Shui in a low voice. After Xianxia was done, she was stunned by Shui's beauty at first sight. The shooting was in progress. The long table covered with a white tablecloth was filled with sumptuous food. The candles on the gorgeous candlesticks were burning, and the dim lighting cast a heavy and depressing atmosphere. However, it couldn't hide the man's presence at the end of the long table. Shui was dressed in a retro black suit, and his tie was meticulously tied. The man's skin was cold and pale, and his eyebrows and eyes were even more profound after the light makeup. There was a small red rose drawn under the end of his right eye, adding a touch of seductive charm. His performance in the camera was superb. It was like a vivid movie that pulled people into the story. From being a serious gentleman to the casual devilishness he exuded when he loosened his tie with one hand, to taking out a rose from the vase and casually biting off the petals one by one. His pale, thin lips were stained with pink juice. A strong impact hit them in the face. The photographer's hand didn't stop pressing the shutter, and he kept taking pictures. Amazing. It was incredible. This was the most outstanding Asian man he had photographed in all these years. However, when Shui inadvertently saw Xianxia in the corner, his expression suddenly changed. The frivolous and lazy vampire seemed to have fallen into the mortal world at this moment. His gaze was as gentle as the wind rustling the cherry trees in March. He seemed to have realized that he had lost his composure. He lowered his head slightly and looked down, but the corners of his lips unconsciously curled up. Xianxia, third brother, seemed to be right. Shui was quite a vixen. Chapter 274. The cameraman managed to capture the scene in time. The creative director's mind was full of inspiration, and he began discussing with the cameraman in a bid to enrich the shooting plan this time. Filming was paused. Shui got up and strode toward Xianxia. Screams were heard everywhere she went, regardless of whether it was a man or a woman. Xiangyi's face was calm, at least on the surface. The young girl praised sincerely. "You're very handsome today." "Pushed. Thank you, Sister E." There were two voices, one from the jealous Xianxia and the other from the smiling Shui. Xianxia removed his sunglasses and wanted to dish Shui. However, even with his experience as a top designer, he found that Shui's outfit was impeccable. He gritted his teeth and said, "She's all right. She looks decent." Shui would automatically turn on her hearing whenever Xianxia was around. She completely ignored Xianxi's words and fixed her gaze on Xianxia. She chuckled seductively and said, "Sister E, it must have been hard on you for descending to the mortal world today." In order to accentuate the contrast, Xianxi's dress was not only gorgeous, but it was also a bright creamy yellow color with white lace elements. Every lace was sewn on by Xianxia himself, making it look even more beautiful than the princess dresses in cartoons. The retro square-necked dress accentuated her slender waist and exquisite collarbone. Her makeup was clean and clear, and the color of her lip gloss complemented the rose at the end of Shui's eyes. She was full of vitality and elegance. Xianxia humphed and exclaimed, "You don't have to praise my sister, too." Xianxia responded with a smile, as if there was nothing unusual about her. However, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Shui looks even more vixen when she smiles. Shui's solo shoot was completed with amazing efficiency. The final product was perfect, and the creative director and the others were full of praises for it. After his segment ended, it was Xianxi's turn. According to the shooting plan, Xianxia was going to shoot an outdoor scene in the rose garden of the castle. However, the photographer changed his mind at the last minute. "Let's go to the forest behind the castle. I heard that deer often appear there. The effect will be great if we can capture it on camera." Xianxia cooperated with him in a good mood. However, when they arrived at the forest, the photographer's attitude was perfunctory. After taking a few photos, he began to question Xianxia. "Your movements are too stiff. Do you even know how to pose?" "Oh, that's not the effect I want at all." Xianxia frowned and asked to take a look at the photos, but she was flatly rejected. "You are not qualified." After struggling for more than half an hour, the staff were all exhausted. It was inevitable that they would look at Xianxia with dissatisfaction. Although they felt that there was nothing wrong with Xianxi's gaze and pose, Steve was a professional photographer. Hence, there must be something wrong with Xianxia. Steve continuously complained, but when he saw Xianxia coming over, he immediately shut up. He pretended to take a few photos and said, "Okay, let's take a break." The staff members felt as if they had been granted amnesty. Xianxia handed his sister a glass of water and even carefully inserted a straw into it. "Why did you take so long?" Xianxia was a little embarrassed. Maybe I'm holding them back. I heard that the final product is not very good. Xianxia frowned. Don't think too much. Maybe the photographer's skills are not good enough. Steve, who was at the side, looked at the photos just now guiltily. If he hadn't received money from Hades' competitor, he wouldn't have deliberately taken such a poor shot. It's a pity that this little Asian beauty has such a great sense of camera. Chapter 275. However, he had already thought of a way to shift the blame, so Steve didn't panic at all. The shoot continued. This time, with Xianxia watching from the side, Steve didn't dare to complain, but he chose another method, silence. With a sullen face, he didn't give Xianxia any hints apart from opening the door. The atmosphere became more and more suffocating and unbearable. During the second break, the crew was really exhausted. If they were tired, it would be fine if they could get some results. However, they were so tired that they couldn't even look at the photos. This kind of tiredness was meaningless. Some people couldn't help but complain on social media. Coincidentally, international surfers saw this post and reposted it back to China. Sheng sheng buluo, gua buluo, 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 buluo. I found a smooth account of a fashion magazine staff member of Mystyle. Her performance is terrible. After working for half a day, there isn't a single photo that can be seen. The photographer wanted to shoot deer, but when she went into the forest, not a single deer showed up. I think she's a cursed girl. Let's be honest. Not only is Xianxia unlucky, she's also a fashion black hole, right? As soon as this Weibo post was posted, someone immediately retorted, Sister E is a fashion black hole? Come on. Her red carpet appearance at Tomato Entertainment's annual gala was perfect. People call her a vase fairy every day, which actually means that her looks are really good. There are also people who gloated. Looks don't equal temperament. Some people are just nouveau riche no matter how much they promote themselves. For an international fashion magazine like Mystyle, what they want is a sense of high-end fashion expression, okay? Not everyone has that. With the attention of passers-by, this Weibo post slowly became popular. When the Shursui sisters saw it, they couldn't help but criticize it again. It wasn't easy to find something to criticize, so of course, they couldn't miss it. At the castle, Viscount Albert invited a guest to dinner. It was the editor-in-chief of Mystyle, Miss Sophia. He had been pursuing Sophia recently. After the two exchanged pleasantries, he tried to invite Sophia to go hunting together. Although we haven't seen deer in recent years, we can still hunt pheasants or rabbits. If you're interested, we can go on horseback. Sophia smiled and turned him down. She took off her plain, wide-brimmed hat and asked the creative director about the progress of the shoot. This is Sway's solo photo. The creative director showed the photo to Sophia on the computer. The photo had not been edited, but it was stunning enough. Sophia nodded her head in satisfaction. She had a feeling that this issue of the magazine would sell well. Where's Alice's picture? She and Hades were good friends. This time, the double magazine cover was also a favor to Hades. She knew that Xianxia and Xianxia were siblings. The photos haven't been sent over yet. Actually, some of the photos have been uploaded, but none of them were presentable. The creative director was disappointed, but he also wanted to secretly buy some time for Xianxia. Perhaps Xianxia would be able to get into the groove. He was worried that Sophia would replace Xianxia after seeing those trashy films. As the big boss, Sophia was gentle in her daily life, but she was resolute in her work. She was the famous Iron Blood Empress. At this moment, the photographer, Steve, returned. At the thought of the huge sum of money that he was about to receive, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. However, when he saw Sophia, his expression instantly froze. Big boss, why is she here? Chapter 276. The creative director's heart skipped a beat. I wonder how Xianxi's shoot went. It's all my fault. I've been working on perfecting the two-person shooting plan and neglected Xianxia. Sophia said calmly. Let me take a look at Alice's photos. The photographer hesitated for a few seconds before taking out the DSLR's memory card. His hands were trembling slightly. He imported the photos and previewed them. A set of trashy photos appeared in front of everyone. The creative director secretly cursed. It's over, it's over. Sophia is probably going to fly into a rage. He did not expect Sophia to just quietly look at a few hundred photos. The photographer felt lucky and thought that maybe Sophia didn't see through his tricks. If he could take good photos of the models, he could also take bad ones. It wasn't the first time he had used this trick, so he was very skilled. Not only did it show his superb photography skills for lighting, portraits, and sceneries, but it also made the people look lifeless and stiff. He also tried to capture Xianxia's inappropriate expressions or movements, but the girl's facial expression was very well managed. Her gestures were elegant and proud, completely in line with the image of the little princess. He didn't manage to take any ugly photos. The staff came over to take a look. When they saw the superb but ugly photos, they immediately felt resentful toward Xianxia. Without comparison, there would be no harm. If Sui's photos were stunning, then hers was simply shocking. The person who had just posted the photo secretly took a photo and posted it online. She thought that since no one paid attention to her account, she might as well post it. However, what she didn't know was that she was being watched by Chinese netizens. As soon as the photo was posted, it was immediately shared on Weibo and forums. This time, there were photos as proof, and ridicule immediately arose. Ah, isn't this the standard of the wedding photos downstairs? What a waste of such a beautiful dress and such an awesome photographer. Why call her vase fairy? Just call her a country bumpkin. Calling her a country bumpkin is an insult to the word country bumpkin. Haha, this is probably what happens when there are no artisans. I think the vase fairy will be banned from the fashion industry after this issue of the magazine. Sophia clicked the mouse lightly, and the photo returned to the first one. This meant that she had seen everything once. The photographer saw that there was no change in her expression and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the big boss did not suspect him. The creative director, on the other hand, looked like he was about to cry. He felt that Sophia was going to replace Xianxia the moment she opened her mouth. Under everyone's eager gazes, Sophia spoke at a moderate pace. Did you take all these photos? Yes, ma'am. Sophia nodded slightly. Very good, Mr. Steve, right? I hereby announce that you are fired from our magazine. Yes, ma'am. He was stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. Refired? Why? This isn't fair. I demand that you give me a reasonable explanation. Steve panicked. This job had a stable income and a good reputation in the industry. If he was fired, how could he survive in the industry in the future? Sophia opened the dual window mode and compared the photos of Shui and Xianxia together. She then said professionally and calmly, "You have superb photography skills, but you're not a good photographer." Chapter 277. Being a photographer is a profession that naturally pursues beauty. This is also the founding philosophy of our magazine, to discover the beauty of different styles. You have the eyes to discover beauty, and you also have the skills to record beauty. This can be seen from Shui's photos. But Sophia changed the topic, and her light blue eyes moved to Steve. The latter subconsciously avoided her gaze, not daring to look in her eyes. However, Alice's photo disappointed me. Please note that it is the photos that disappointed me. You showed extraordinary skills, but you lost the pursuit of beauty and the purity of your soul. Mr. Steve, I think you should understand what I mean. Let's save some face for each other in social etiquette, okay? Her words hit the nail on the head, but they were tactful and appropriate. She pointed out the reason for firing Steve, but she did not expose his filth in public. Her iron-blooded professionalism and the gentleness unique to women formed a unique style. Steve's lips moved, trying to say something to save himself, but he could not say a word. His face was pale, and he lowered his head dejectedly. I understand, Madame Sophia. This turn of events was not expected by the staff at the scene. While they were still dumbfounded, Sophia had already started to arrange the work in an orderly manner. Linda, contact the photographer, Ryan. Please arrange for Shui and Alice to rest for a while. Prepare for the meeting. I want to see the complete shooting plan. Under her orders, the originally chaotic scene was restored to order. Like a precise and efficient machine, it resumed its operation. Viscount Albert looked at this scene with infatuation. Oh God, this woman is too charming. Xianxia had nothing to do, so she got Viscount Albert's permission and went to the kitchen to make some snacks. The light yellow round pancake emitted a faint fragrance. Xianxia thought that it was his sister's biscuit, so he opened his mouth to eat it. However, he was stopped. This is deer biscuit made with rice bran and wheat flour. People might have diarrhea if they eat it. Xianxi's focus was obviously different from ordinary people. He blurted out, "Is it delicious?" Xianxia slowly typed a question mark. "Just don't eat it," she said. However, Xianxia didn't believe her. While she wasn't paying attention, he secretly bit off half a piece and chewed like a little hamster. Although the taste was a little bland, it was made by his younger sister. For a crazy Siscon, this was the best food in the world. Ryan, the cameraman who saved the scene, arrived as soon as possible. Because of the change of cameraman, Sure Sui's part also needed to be res hot. But considering the problem of lighting, Xianxia was the first to be shot this time. Viscount Albert noticed Xianxi's deer biscuit and sighed. "You want to use this to lure the deer over? That's impossible. There hasn't been a deer around the castle for many years." The deer in the nearby forest was a rare and protected species. They had white spots on their bodies, and the horns of the male deer were especially beautiful. However, they were especially ferocious, and there were records of them attacking humans in the early years. Unfortunately, they were becoming rarer and rarer in recent years. Some experts speculated that the herd might be endangered or even extinct. Before he could finish his words, a pair of furry, pointy ears popped out from the dense forest. "Albert!" Everyone held their breaths at the same time and stared in shock at the young deer that suddenly appeared.